Subscribe to the all-new HardLore Patreon now for early, ad-free access to every episode and an exclusive episode every month. Doing tours with barricades as a hardcore band, which is not easy, but you have found ways to defeat it. You have defeated the barricade.
You book a terror show and you want a band called Terror and God's Hate and Hatebreed, and you want the money of the people coming to see these bands, but you don't want these bands to have their show. It's like, that really bothers me.
Hello, welcome. It's HardLore time. How are you, Bo?
Doing very well today, Colin. How are you?
Fantastic. Talk about an all-timer we've got right now.
Often requested.
Often requested, even by us. So this is truly a big day, big week, special episode. Now, Scott, you're gonna have to bear with me for this. I know you're not gonna like what I'm about to say.
Oh no.
The frontman of whom we consistently on the show say is the best hardcore band of all time, Terror. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Vogel.
Thank you for having me. And I do hear you say that. You guys say that sometimes, and I think I always text you, thank you. But
you do.
Definitely not something that I hear and I don't mentally reject. But thank you for the kind words, and thanks for having me.
Hey, it's fine. You know, you gotta stay humble. I get it. I understand. You're a humble guy. Man, episodes like this are just kind of like where to begin.
Yeah, I think we go back in time to use your parlance, Colin. I think we need to go back in time a little bit.
I think we start from the top.
Yeah,
because Scott, you're from Buffalo, New York.
True.
So I want to hear about Buffalo, New York before Scott Vogel was Scott Vogel. I want to hear about you finding hardcore. I want to hear about the bands that did for you what Terror does for us and for others.
Okay. Should I just go off on a rant here about my early life?
Rant me, dude. Rant.
Okay. I was actually born, this might be a little confusing, in a place called Boston, New York, which is, if you've been to Buffalo, it's, I think it's the second largest city in New York State.
Okay.
Second to New York City, but it's a smaller city. Boston is out basically in the woods.
Boston, New York is like the two scientists in the lab meme. Finally, Boston, New York.
I'm from Boston. So I grew up out in the middle of nowhere. Lived with my mom and my two sisters. Try to say things nicely. We were poor. Yeah. My mom took it upon herself. Crack a cold one. My mom took it upon herself to raise me and my two sisters, and it was I had a pretty good life. I went to a Catholic school. I love sports. My mom was pretty cool. I was a troublemaker, but nothing too crazy.
How could you not be in Catholic school in Boston? You know?
Yes, I don't know what we're going to get into here, but I'm not super close to my family. And when I moved to LA and Terror started, I was really distant from my family. But recently my mom had me and my two sisters. We got an Airbnb and all hung out together for a weekend. Oh. And my sister reminded me of a time where I was like in front of my house throwing rocks at cars coming by the house. And I lit up a cop car and ran into the woods, and they found me. So, doing stuff like this.
That's normally the path to hardcore,
Right. I would steal alcohol from my mom, like cooking wine and stuff, and hide it in the woods and drink. So even when I was little, like elementary school, I started my alcohol love.
Oh. How's that going now?
Same thing.
Now it's going great. Terrible
Nice.
for a while, but
Right.
I think I've conquered the demon.
Congrats.
Yeah.
I agree. Hopefully it holds up. Musically, my mom had a record player and she was into like some cool shit like Willie Nelson, which was kind of cool.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. She had this wasn't so cool, but I can remember she had the Grease soundtrack.
Hey, there's some bangers on the Grease soundtrack.
I think it was a gatefold.
Yeah. Did she have, let me take a guess. Did she have Carole King's Tapestry?
Oh, probably. You're right in there.
A mom classic.
I had a single mom, same exact thing. You know?
Really into sports. I played tons of sports, Catholic school, troublemaker, sisters, my mom, everything's normal. We moved around a lot. My mom was just like, she was like a dental assistant, anywhere she could get work. You know, like if anyone knows the song One with the Underdogs, it says raised in unemployment lines. I can remember going with my mom to collect unemployment and stuff like that. So, but at the time, you don't even know. Like my mom was nice and took care of me. I didn't really know that we had what we needed. So it was fine. We moved around a lot. And one really cool thing that I will say is my mom had this boyfriend named Dave, he was pretty cool. He would take me to Sabres game. He played softball and I was like the bat boy for his team. One day he gave me the first two Black Sabbath albums, the Self-Titled and Paranoid on vinyl, and was like, you're going to like these. So really early, I had those. And then I got into like AC/DC, Iron Maiden. After that came like Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, stuff like that.
What time frame would this be?
This is mid 80s, 85, 86. Okay. So a big thing that happened in my life was we were moving a lot, and I'd make friends. I never really had trouble making friends, but as a kid, every 2 years when you're moving, it was pretty brutal on like maybe my mental state.
Sure.
So at a certain point, my mom, she went to her high school reunion, re-met a guy from her high school, and they started dating. And within like 6 months, she's like, we're moving to Houston.
Oh, and shit. Now, is this Houston, New York, or?
No,
this is
Kansas,
the big Houston,
gotcha.
H-Town, home of the Ghetto Boys. So I think also I should say at this time, I would go stay with my father more in Buffalo every other weekend or something like that. Typical divorce.
So dad was Buffalo the whole time.
Right.
Okay.
So I think when I was really little, I lived with both of them. They got divorced, stayed with my mom, would go see my dad. And my brother Jay is going to be integral in a lot of things that may come up on this. So he's my stepbrother, and my father got remarried to his mom. So he's actually my stepbrother, but he's probably the closest member of my family.
Sure.
So they get married. He comes into my life. I'm seeing them on the weekends. My mom says we're moving. I lay down the fucking law and say I'm not going. I want to move in with my dad. My dad says, okay. So my sisters and my mom go to Texas. I move in with my brother Jay, my stepmom, and my father. Wow.
Okay.
Much in the suburbs still, but now in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And my brother, who is actually 4 months younger than me, gets me into everything. First got me into like Run DMC, UTFO, Houdini, like early rap. And then he's also gets really into the Sex Pistols, Circle Jerks, Dead Milkmen, all that stuff. So that's how I get my foot close to hardcore.
Okay, so and I have heard you say, and I think you've publicly said that you're not a punk guy,
No.
but you love
No.
Social Distortion. What's up with that?
Okay, you want the real answer, or is this a joke? The real answer is, I think maybe part of the reason was I'm down for a good melody. I like someone that can actually sing. So maybe it was they had some melody and it wasn't all like "fuck the world, I've got a mohawk." But
You love the world and hate Mohawk?
I don't know. But I will say this. What Social Distortion did for me was my father recorded on a VCR Another State of Mind on Night Flight, the TV station.
Yeah.
For me and my brother. And I think it was because he knew we liked Social Distortion.
Okay.
What this did for me was show me Minor Threat. So this was so Social Distortion was my bridge to closer and closer to hardcore. So I saw Another State of Mind, which anyone that hasn't seen it that's listening to this should check that out. It's Social Distortion going on tour
with Youth Brigade.
Right, and it's great, and it's really cool. And maybe that put the bug in my ear, also wanting to travel and sleep in disgusting places.
Very fascinating. It all adds up.
They go and they visit the Discord house, and like you see Minor Threat practicing.
Right, they do
crazy.
a thing where they walk down the stairs and Minor Threat's practicing. It shows them play a show where the mic goes out and the whole crowd sings. So this is probably my first time actually seeing hardcore. And
so Social D did that for you?
I'm not giving it all to them. They helped them.
Okay. So tell me about
my brother did this all.
Your brother, with a little help from Social D, bridged the gap between punk and hardcore. Now you finally you feel like you found your home. Tell me about the bands you connected with early.
Yeah, so you said you found your home. I had gone, I saw like the Dead Milkmen. I saw the Butthole Surfers with Jello Biafra spoken word. I would go to some punk shows with my brother, but and I think part of it was I just moved there. I have really nothing else to do. Also trying to find who I am in this world. So I'd tag along to these shows, and I was kind of into it. It was, like, I don't think I'm very normal, and I like the aggression and maybe some elements of it, but it was never like, this is me. Then I saw Another State of Mind, and we went and saw DRI. I guess maybe the first hardcore show I saw, we'll say, or maybe the next one I'll bring up. I'm not sure. There's a fine line here. I saw DRI, Gangrene, the Goo Goo Dolls. And at that show, we got a flyer for 7 Seconds, Hunger Artist, and Zero Tolerance.
Now we're getting into some shit.
Right. So when I see Zero Tolerance, and this was 7 Seconds, kind of longer hair, not prime,
sure,
maybe 88. And when I saw Zero Tolerance, I see these dudes with collegiate stuff, champion hoodies, shaved heads, meaner
Jordans on or some shit.
Just look at X'd up. I probably didn't know what it was. Cool as hell. The energy's different. And I'll say from that day forward, it was over.
Wow.
Zero Tolerance. You heard that, guys.
Wow.
Very important band for Scott. Very important band for Buffalo. One of the most underrated in history. Tell me a little bit more about Zero Tolerance, Scott. Let's give them their shine here.
Okay, so Zero Tolerance. When I get into hardcore, they're a straight edge band. They just have a demo out, but they are so fucking cool, so good live. They're very intimidating. I don't know if they're the first, but they're definitely not the first Buffalo band, because they had bands before them that they were in. I think they were called Third Man In before Zero Tolerance. But they were, when I got into hardcore, and will always be to me like the ground zero center point of what Buffalo is. At that point, more on the youth crew tip, very, but a little bit tougher. As time went on, hair got longer. They got more Cro-Mags influence. They put out a 7-inch on In Effect record. No, excuse me. They put out a second 7-inch on High Impact Records.
Yeah.
Which is not the greatest. They were so much better. They just didn't get the right recording. They were so much better than that, but it's cool. They have a cassette. They're maybe, for me, they're prime. They have a cassette called Fuel the Fire, I think.
Feed the Fire or Fuel the Fire?
I think it's
Feed the Fire, right?
Fuel the Fire.
Yeah.
And they live show, they could, they would open for everybody. Killing Time, Sick of It All, every fucking band, and they could hold their own. They toured the country. They have, if you want some hardcore lore, if you look into this band's story, listen, I don't want to compare.
It's like the ultimate what could have been story.
Yes, but also they have a cold as life type story surrounding them with murder and just crazy stuff. Wow. Anybody that's into heavy metallic hardcore should really look into Zero Tolerance. They're very, very, very underrated. And I said In Effect because In Effect, who put out like the Killing Time record, the Sick of It All record, was going to, I heard rumors that they might do a record with them, which would have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think,
that might not have happened, but we may collectively be able to give the people the Zero Tolerance record that they finally deserve, right? Wink, wink.
Boom.
Nudge, nudge, nudge. Together. So Zero Tolerance was a straight edge band, Scott. Is that something you ever dabbled in?
No. I'm closer now than, I can't say than ever, but like I said, I was a child stealing alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There was a time when I was in despair, so mid-90s, where I didn't drink for a while, but I've always smoked weed. I've always drank. Sometimes too much.
Well, we'll go ahead and say if you are now, you always fucking were. Okay.
I am not now, but I am.
Wow.
I haven't been drunk in a long time, and it's wonderful.
So
beautiful.
Ever since I've known you, Scott, you've been big on Youth Crew and Youth Crew hardcore, which is like very much my favorite thing. Yes. Well, a well-placed set for this episode. Was Zero Tolerance, is that how you found that kind of music?
Well,
they were hard as shit, though.
But had the look, the vibe, the straight edge thing.
When I first got into hardcore, let's call it 1988. I went to Home of the
Good
Hits,
year.
the record store in Buffalo, and I had the Minor Threat record. After seeing Another State of Mind, I had a cassette a kid gave me that was like Victim in Pain on one side and Don't Forget the Struggle on the other side, which is amazing.
That'll do it.
But the first records I bought were the Chain of Strength 7-inch, the Sick of It All 7-inch, the Side by Side 7-inch, and another the No for an Answer 7-inch. So right when I got into it, Revelation was taking off. I think Youth Crew was taking over. And I mean, all those bands came to Buffalo. I saw Judge over and over again. I saw Gorilla Biscuits. I never saw Side by Side, but all these bands were coming to Buffalo. But also, I mean, being in Buffalo in 1988, I saw Rest in Pieces. I saw Slapshot. I saw Vision. Wow. I saw Verbal Assault. Like every fucking band came here. And
so you're seeing like in real time hardcore becoming hardcore. kind of.
Yes.
Like what we know
maybe
of it as
leaving
today.
the Victim in Pain sound, which I love.
Yes. Yeah.
And becoming.
What modern hardcore evolved into and stayed. You see the real time evolution of that.
Right.
How was that for you? Those your the glory days of your life in terms of just like being a fan of first?
Yeah, absolutely. A great thing is I didn't know what a guest list was. I didn't know what a backstage was. I didn't know what a set time was. I didn't want to, there was no way to know about any of these people. I would just mail order the 7 inches. I wouldn't learn.
Maybe it would come.
Yeah, true.
Dude.
I would listen to all the records. I had my favorites, but 9 out of 10 7 inches I got was really good. And Buffalo had shows all the time. And the scene here was great. And once I found hardcore, it's all I cared about. Like, I'd have to work jobs, but if I had to work on a Friday night and Judge was playing, I'm quitting my job. I don't care. Me and my brother would get to show. We would take buses, walk to shows. Mm-hmm. My father would work downtown. If it worked up at night, sometimes he would drop us off on the side of the highway, which was kind of crazy. Just like we'd have to do anything we could because, we're living 20-minute drive from where we had to get to shows. So we would just go, and we'd also go to, death metal shows in Buffalo. Cannibal Corpse was from Buffalo. Malevolent Creations from Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
The dude from Deicide's from Niagara Falls. There was death metal shows here all the time.
Wow.
I saw Violence and Slapshot play together. They would do, like maybe in the early 90s, they would do death metal hardcore shows, and it would be like 800 people. And all we did was just go to shows. And we had already started playing instruments really bad. So naturally you start a band, and that's the next
one of
step.
those instruments you happen to play, Scott, and I didn't know this till very recently. Scott Vogel plays drums.
Drummer? Yeah.
Played. I've tried and it's gone. I was never that good. I was never that good, but it's gone.
You can hit a do-ga, I bet.
Sometimes like I'll get behind Nick's drums and try to hit it, and it's bad. It's bad.
I was going to ask, is that what you did in the first band? Were you the drummer?
Yes, early on, I acquired a terrible, terrible drum set. I've said this before on podcasts, but like, this is so terrible, but it's worth repeating because it's pretty fucking funny. We lived on the street of our high school, and I would, after school, sneak into the music room, throw drums and cymbals out the door and cover them with snow.
Oh.
So I'd steal from the music department. That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Then at night, when no one's, this is before there's a camera everywhere, come back, dig it out, and I'd have a new cymbal or a...
Dude, that's so crazy because I did the exact same thing in elementary school with kids' Star Wars toys on the playground. So that kid never knew where his X-Wing went, but it's in my garage right now. So you said you were doing all kinds of jobs between, in your heyday trying to go to these shows. I know one of those jobs was a cab driver. Tell me about your time as a cab driver, Scott.
You're a cab driver in Buffalo?
Yeah.
Scott, and I'll cut this if you want me to. Can you tell me about? Can you tell me about something you received as payment for a cab ride one day?
I received a very crazy drug that people shouldn't do as a cab payment.
Okay.
And
were you into that drug for a while?
I'm not talking about that.
All right.
You don't have to cut that, but I'm not talking.
Okay.
You got Jordan?
I don't know, man.
He's got his birds. They're everywhere.
I don't know. So your first band you played drums in, tell me about the first band you ever sang in.
Okay, so the first band I ever sang in was Slugfest. And this was this happened. So the venue where all these bands played, unless you were like the Cro-Mags or bigger, Judge, every normal, there was certain bands that were bigger, but maybe Cro-Mags or Bad Religion or some stuff like that. Everybody played at the River Rock Cafe, which is crazy because now I live like a 2-minute drive from it. So I drive by it and cherish memories. But
blow to kiss and
the owner's son, who was the sound man, booked everything. The owner was like an old guy who was never there. So let's just say the owner was this guy, John Radis. And me and my brother were there so much. I think we went up to him and we're like, do you know anybody that plays drums? We want to start a fucking hardcore band. He's like, I play drums. So we start a band. So if Slugfest has a 7-inch out that the singer of Chokehold put out, that it's actually, I don't like to talk about myself like this, but it's pretty good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's absolutely good.
For I think it came out in like 92. It's pretty good.
Wow.
But
I mean, dude, first band you ever sang in.
Yes, it's
people still talk about today.
Yeah.
If you go back to the demos, though, not so good. And when people think of Slugfest, they think of like we had the drummer that went on to be at Snapcase, and it looks like a hardcore band. 5 younger kids with hardcore shirts, and maybe one day.
Why don't you talk to me about Snapcase real quick?
Wait. We'll definitely get there. But the first iteration of Slugfest is me and my brother, this dude, John Geib, who was like a guy that went to our school but had no idea what Agnostic Front was. He liked
there's
Metallica.
There's got to be one in the first.
You got to have one.
Yeah.
But then John Radis, who is probably 10 years older than us, and his friend, whose name was Andy, but his name was Fuckem, Fuckem, because he always wore the shirt called Fuckem. He also played in a Kiss cover band.
Hey.
And this is why everyone from Cleveland liked me right away. When Cleveland hated everyone, they liked Slugfest because we would cover Kiss and Blow Fire on stage in 1990.
So you got Frank real early.
Yes, I did.
That makes a lot. Puzzle pieces are falling into place here.
And Snapcase, obviously, Snapcase had a band before Snapcase called Solid State. They were amazing. I think Snapcase's original singer, Chris Gallus, was the singer of Solid State. He was great on stage. He was a fucking animal. I think watching him made me say, all right, I need to do this, because he was just go off.
Wow.
That's
huge.
Cool. Yeah.
In the end, Snapcase kind of, like back then, I like how you're baiting me and giggling, but they ultimately kind of killed Slugfest by kind of in a not so cool way, asked our drummer to be in their band. He couldn't resist because they're on Victory, taking over the world, and it all worked out. But at the time,
really did.
Yeah, I wasn't happy. I was not. I was not happy.
Hey, understandable, but that's music now. Drummers especially.
One door closes, that means another door opens. So what's the band after?
So Despair would be next.
Right away, I think.
Right away.
Talk to me about Despair.
Despair is
very dramatic name. Very
taken from the Conviction 7-inch, who maybe almost as underrated as Zero Tolerance. But oh man, Conviction 7-inch on Watermark. If you like to fucking mosh, get the Conviction 7-inch on Watermark. It's unfucking believable.
It's probably $6 on Discogs right now. Go check it out.
Unfucking believable. So Buffalo at this time, there's so many bands, so many, kids, and all these bands are like breaking up, lasting, putting out a demo, maybe putting out a 7-inch. This was at a time like when Slugfest put out that 7-inch, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm on vinyl. So having a 7-inch at that time was kind of a big deal. All these bands are breaking up. So this is just a bunch of kids that kind of hang out, some skate. A lot of times we would go to like Denny's and drink coffee all night and just talk and make zines and just do good, clean, fun, hardcore stuff. And Despair kind of comes out of the ashes of a band called Discontent. This is the first time I'm in a band with Joe Garlip, who I went on to do with more stuff with after that. And we just kind of just at this point, I'm a little bit old. Slugfest never toured.
Okay.
I don't know if we ever even played 2 shows in a row. You know,
Slugfest?
Yeah. I mean, we'd play Buffalo, we'd play Erie, PA, we'd play in Canada, like Toronto and Hamilton, Rochester, Syracuse. The farthest we ever went is Albany, but I don't know if we ever had a show back to back. We just go to school, play a show.
So is Despair where your touring life begins?
Yeah, I think in Slugfest, I'm still in high school. Maybe when Despair starts, I'm just graduating high school. As soon as I graduate high school, I leave my father's house, move in with some friends, drive a cab, start doing sick drugs. Going to shows, and Despair starts, and we're a little bit older. We have a little more contact to do shows.
Yeah.
We get on Trustkill, which was really cool. A cool story while we're here is the Despair 7-inch, which is called, I think, 1,000 Cries. It was kind of a cool story. So I'm living in this house in Kenmore, just right outside of Buffalo. This is the first house I ever lived in by myself. At first, it was with some kind of crazy people from my high school. Then they moved out, and so now I'm living with it's a 3-bedroom house. So it's me and this kid Kurt, this straight edge vegan kid. He's super cool. Despair goes and records a 7-song demo.
Okay.
We're about to put this demo out. He's a cart pusher at the supermarket here.
Sure.
He comes home one day and he's like, I found a purse in a cart. It had $1,000 in it. Can I put out the Despair 7-inch? We're like, great. So we give him I think the 4 best songs, put the other 3 out on the demo. That's the first Despair 7-inch. Josh Trustkill is from New Jersey. He's going to school in Syracuse, which is 2 hours from Buffalo. People from Syracuse are always coming to shows here. We're always going there. Josh starts doing his label. He starts with his zine, starts doing the label. You can see he's going to do it kind of professional.
Sure.
I don't know if I approached him or he asked me, but he signs, and I say that in quotes. He gets, I don't know the right word. We agreed to do a record with Trustkill, which was kind of a really cool thing at that time.
Yeah, for sure.
Deal.
That's when the touring starts.
Okay. So this woman from Buffalo paid for the Despair 7-inch.
This man.
So that's cool.
Yes.
Yes, her purse financed the record. That's
stealing.
Well, I hope she's listening to this and knows it went somewhere.
Right.
It went to a good cause.
Positive, for sure.
It made art. Yeah. Is it? Do you ever think about, Scott, that after singing in 5-6 bands throughout your life, that like the 4th one would define you as an artist?
Just Slugfest, Despair, and Buried Alive all like kind of did some shit and got like almost to a good spot and then plummeted. So when it came time after those 3 bands and when I left Buffalo, I didn't think I was going to do any more music. I was like done. Wow. But I thought I was done. And then I'm sure we'll get to Terror, which has been 23 years it's been like 21 years of insanity and 2 years of
peace.
Yes.
Of harmony. Good. I don't want to skip over Buried Alive. Let's get to Buried Alive.
Yes.
So Slugfest stops because Tim goes to Snapcase, which at the time I was very, anti Snapcase. Now I can, just like when my mom moved to Texas, I was very not so happy with her. Right. Now I can see it. She was lonely. She had to do what she had to do.
Sure, so, there's a mom Snapcase allegory in here somewhere in here, yeah.
So Despair does this record on Trustkill. We do some tours. We do some cool stuff. We did Snapcase gave us a what do you call it? Like hey, I ruined your band. Have this tour.
Attaboy?
Yeah.
A severance package.
Yes, we did a tour with Harvest and Brothers Keeper. Who else did Despair go out with?
Very mid-90s.
Yeah, that is a
hardcore type tour.
Chokehold took us out. That was really cool. Chokehold and Frail, if you know who they are.
Yeah. So around this time, Scott, just with hardcore in general, Youth Crew is bottoming out.
Youth Crew kind of dies to all the Youth Crew people deciding they're actual musicians. Which, like Quicksand is amazing. So I'm not fully dissing,
right?
But I'll take, I can't even say I'll take GB over Quicksand, but I'll take Youth of Today over Shelter. I'll take Underdog over Into Another. But you got to do
what Turning Point would have done. Swimmer's Ear is cool, but I wonder what they would have done after,
Turning Point is so fucking good. It's unbelievable.
Scott, you told me on the first tour we ever did together, you told me that you remember, and please correct me if I'm misquoting, but you said Integrity killed Youth Crew.
I mean, I don't remember saying that, but you saying that, I kind of agree with it. I mean, from where I'm at in Buffalo, maybe Cro-Mags play into this too, but I guess they didn't affect that. But so I'm seeing all, Verbal Assault, all these Youth Crew bands. Everyone looks nice. Everyone looks happy. All of a sudden, Integrity shows up in Buffalo. That 7-inch, everyone. It's kind of like the Firestorm 7-inch. You never, or not even the All Out War, Earth Crisis 7-inch. You never really heard anything like that. And then they roll into Buffalo and they just, they're like, and DeWitt, every time Cleveland's like 3 hours from here. So they'd come here every other month. Every time DeWitt came, he'd look different. He's evil. They kind of, maybe. They changed the game. And kind of like the Earth Crisis. They changed the game a couple years later. Like, there's these bands that come along and maybe Integrity killed Youth Crew. It's possible. Or Youth Crew dudes killed Youth Crew.
Wow, that's another good theory. I was going to ask about just Earth Crisis and Syracuse in general and the relationship there with Buffalo.
So I remember, there's a band called Framework. So I'd go, I'd say early on, Buffalo had a better scene than Syracuse, but Syracuse definitely had a good scene. But whenever Earth Crisis popped off, is that like 93, 94? I don't know when that is.
Yeah, 92 maybe.
Maybe a year before that, that city got really, let's say, organized with the McKeg Flyers always looking the same. They were starting to bring super awesome packages. They got their local bands were getting better. They had the kids up there had some really good style of dancing. And I mean, this is the time when if I go to a show, I'm dancing for every band from the first band to the last band. I had that much energy, and that's just what you did.
Yeah.
Syracuse kids had a really cool style of dancing, and the scene just started growing and growing. There was Framework, which was Earth Crisis with a different singer, this dude Shane Durkee, who was a great band. And then all of a sudden, I remember Tim Redmond, the drummer of Slugfest, who went on to be in Snapcase, me and him really enjoyed. I'm 51, so it's weird to say this, but we really like moshing a lot.
Oh, I mean, I think you were you are the ultimate testament to our our prolific thing of the best moshers make the best bands.
I liked moshing. And I went to a show in Syracuse, and Ben Reed, the original guitarist of Earth Crisis, who, if you look back at old videos, one of the illest stage presence I've ever seen for a guitarist. This dude would go the fuck off. But at this point, I didn't even know who he was. This guy had this cut across his whole face, like a scab across his whole face. And he was like, you know, this is when you'd walk around and sell stuff like person to person. It's like, do you want to buy this 7-inch? I had no idea who it was, but I was like, he's a little guy too. So it wasn't like I was intimidated, but he had this crazy cut across his face. I was like, sure. So I buy this 7-inch. I don't know who it is. I go home. This is the Earth Crisis All Out War 7-inch.
Wow.
And Ben Reed is a character. He later told me when we became friends, he got that cut from like liberating an animal from a cage. Do I know if that's true? No. But this guy.
That's like what we would. That's what we would hope.
The only way. Yeah.
I put on that All Out War 7-inch, and again, never heard anything like the lyrics were so crazy. The gang vocals were so crazy. Carl's delivery was fucking insane. And I remember I called Tim Redman. I was like, you are not going to believe this 7-inch. And I don't know if he borrowed mine or he got his own or whatever. There was a really cool weekend. Like I said, Slugfest never toured, but we did once drive to Detroit. Earth Crisis came down here. We became friends with them and played Slugfest, played with them in Syracuse. They came down and stayed at Tim's house. And they had like a Ford Escort, but not a Ford, like a tiny car. The whole band's in it. I think they used our gear, taped on license plates. If people think Earth Crisis are nice, happy, they're troublemakers, and
that's new.
They're not
they're kind of crazy.
Vegans. Yeah.
I think they used to roll around Syracuse and someone they knew. This might not sound good because this involves cheese. I think I heard they used to roll around Syracuse with cheese pizza and throw open a door of like a minivan and throw them at like college kids and like.
Wow, Carl, if you're listening, could you please confirm the cheese pizza assault story?
It was Dia, dude. It was real
it was Dia cheese. Yeah. Wow, so that's awesome.
We did a show in Detroit. It was Slugfest, Chokehold, Earth Crisis, and this is like a road trip with those bands at those times. And I remember like so many kids rolled. That's probably the first time Earth Crisis. And maybe all these bands. And Slugfest has a tiny buzz, but Earth Crisis has a huge buzz.
Yeah.
Chokehold's in the middle. All these kids. I remember this is the first time I saw people from Chicago, like 20 kids from Chicago roll in with straight edge varsity jackets. And they all did zines at that time. And I remember, 6 months later when they all did a zine, Slugfest in all of them. So I'm nice. I'm feeling good about myself.
You're getting there.
So that's yeah.
But so you're telling this as like to hear you talk about what a fan you were of what was essentially your contemporaries is. I think that just like goes to show that's why you're still around today and still revered and making great songs. That you're a fan first, and that is like so what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm having even still today like. I got home from Australia, I feel like 2 weeks ago. I can't even imagine what it's like in LA or Chicago. There's a show in Buffalo like every fucking day. And of course, I'm a firm believer that if you don't support other bands, why the fuck should people support you? Mm-hmm. And I'm always, of course I like to hear good music. And music that gets stuck in my head and music that gives me goosebumps. But you could be the most awesome musician and write a song that sounds exactly like Turning Point. But if your band is all these people, if I live in Buffalo and I don't know anyone in your band, I'm not going to support that as much as the 5 kids I see at every show going off for every band, and their band kind of sucks. Like, that's always the way I've thought about things. So I just,
beautiful.
You know, there are days when I just want to sit home and watch a hockey game. But there's this thing in the back of my head that's like, dude, this is your family. This is your world. You know, and I'm 51. Sometimes I go to shows now and there's like mostly 17-year-olds, 22-year-olds, a couple 30-year-olds. There's a couple people like 5 years younger than me. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be a fucking weirdo. And then I'm like, you're not a fucking weirdo. You're here.
No,
you're here for the right reasons.
Yeah, of course.
You're the best one. You're the singer of the best one.
Scott, you rattled. I don't think I've ever talked about this on the show, but he rattled something in my head with the Chicago Varsity jackets used to be color coded. If you had a black one, you lived in the city. If you had a blue one, you were from an area.
Did you say blue?
Maroon and what'd you say?
Did you say blue?
Blue was like suburbs or Joliet, I think, and then green was Elgin.
Yeah,
like they all had color codes. It was cool.
I think like Jim and Carrie would be the people I would see, and I think they were blue.
They were blue. Yeah, that's correctly. The suburbs. That's Naperville. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I want to ask, because we talk about this a lot, Scott. During this time, what is it like touring? Like, is it Atlas, payphone, call the number that you have?
Can I drop a Chicago gem before I get to that?
Please.
So anyone listening, there's a girl from Chicago named Carrie who, in my mind, I don't think she goes to shows too much anymore, but for years she had bands stay at her house. She always was at shows, the coolest person. This girl was so fucking core that she would X up, and I've never been straight edge, but I love this. She would X up and go to high school, and she X'd up so much every day she got ink poisoning and had to stop because she would just go into her school with probably normal people being like, who's this fucking wacko with X's on her hands? Now that's core.
That's what it's all about.
I used to X up and go to school.
Okay. Touring, when I started touring. So I think my first tours would be 95, 96. Okay. I think the one with Brothers Keeper and Harvest, I think maybe Josh Grabel, maybe Mike Ski booked that. But I mean, the Despair Hatebreed tour, me and Josta booked that whole thing, and it was a full US tour. We both just used our contacts and put that together, and it's just like, yes, a dialer. No guarantees. It was just basically like, call someone you know. A lot of times, you know, like if it was Philly, I'm hitting up Turmoil. You know, it's a lot of times someone in another band. There's never any money talk. There's never any how many people are going to be there. What's the bill? What time are we playing? It's just, can you do a show? Not even what the venue is. It's just, can you do a show? Like the first Despair van I ever bought, it made one road trip to, I think it's New Britain, Connecticut, where Josta was booking shows at this skate park. Bristol skate park. Yes.
Oh, is that where the video's from? The video.
Man, there were many videos from there, but that wasn't where the Satisfaction release was. No.
Despair plays the Bristol skate park. The thing won't start. We took off the serial number or whatever the VIN number. We popped it off. I gave the keys to Josta. We went home in a rider truck. And I think Josta was like, that van, I got it looked at. There's no way that thing's ever going anywhere. And I don't know what happened. Maybe it still lives somewhere in Connecticut. But it was just maps, like physical maps.
Yeah.
Getting lost a lot. I just think about how crazy the world was. Like, let's say, like Patrick from Reaper Records. This is one of my good friends that I met at a hardcore festival, at a New Bedford festival in Massachusetts. We became friends. Despair toured in Europe. I think he came with us, part of that. And it became like a really close friend. And he would come to Buffalo and visit sometimes. Like, we'd probably write each other letters. He'd buy a flight. How did I know where to pick him up at the airport? Like,
I don't know.
And what if his flight's delayed? You can't just check on your phone. Like, it's everything is just like, if you want to go get coffee with your friends, like, you had to set a time and be there. You couldn't.
You got to send a Raven 2 weeks earlier and hope somebody shows up.
So trying to travel and like rolling into like Salt Lake City, and you're like 5 dumb kids from Buffalo, and you have to find the venue and finance the tour and make sure the van works, and you have no phone, you have nothing, and surely didn't have any money. It was interesting, but it always worked out. You know, sometimes.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, how often did it work out?
It always worked. Sometimes you missed a show if something broke or whatever. Sometimes you got to a show and it was canceled. But
when J Mass was playing in Harm's Way,
yes,
I would ask him about this stuff, you know, and Colin, J Mass is from Buffalo. He's from over there. And I would ask him about that. He said it was just like a lot of waiting. Like, you would get to a venue parking lot and you'd just kind of be there until somebody came to get you or whatever.
Came or didn't come.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like a lot of like, no phone, no nothing.
And how drastically did that change between touring with Despair and touring with Buried Alive? Because that's only what, two or 3 years difference.
I didn't have a cell phone till I left Buffalo, so I don't think any of us did. I think it was, we had a little more money and a little more experience, but I think it was pretty much the same. And Buried Alive had Victory and a booking agent, so it was a little bit more professional, but not really.
Yeah. Pardon this interruption from one of the greatest episodes we've ever recorded in the history of this show. We have a couple of important things to talk to you about before we get back to this, one of the best episodes we've ever had in the history of the show.
Hey, Colin, I really like that shirt you got on. What is that there?
Thanks, man. I got it at Guilty Party.
Where's
the greatest menswear store in the United States of America is in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's co-owned by Chamfram Foundation.
What?
So not only are you supporting an incredible local business, a small business, you're supporting one of our own that carries pretty much every brand that Bo and I wear every single day. 316, Ironheart.
Yeah, I'm wearing a pair of Ironhearts right now. You can't see them. Trust me.
They got brain dead stuff. Yep. They're always stocked up with something that we like. And guess what? It's fall, winter now.
Now this is the good time.
This is the good shit, man.
Yeah.
So if you go to guiltyparty.co, use code HardLore, you're getting 10% off. And if your item is over $300, you're getting free shipping too.
That's a deal.
Honestly, 1-2 items, you can completely transform yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And at Guilty Party, that's the place where you can do that.
They got lots of staples. They got outerwear, they got pants, they got shirts, they got accessories, all kinds of stuff.
A lot of you ask what jeans you wearing.
Yeah, a lot.
It's Ironheart. A lot of you ask what boots you wearing. They're Red Wings Heritage Iron Rangers. You can buy both of those things on this site. Please, you don't have to ask anymore. This is the answer. Go to guiltyparty.co, use code HardLore. You get 10% off and free shipping over $300. You got to do it. Thank you. Also, man, Bo, I've been feeling good lately.
Really? Do tell.
Yeah. And it's because of AG1.
Really?
Sometimes I fall off.
Sure.
You know, I'll go a couple days without consistently drinking it, and I'll think like, something's wrong with me?
Something's up.
And I'll just realize that the game, what I've been missing, the thing that makes me whole, and that is AG1.
I look forward to my AG1 time every single day. No matter what, man. I'm finding a way to make sure that I have AG1 time.
It's the first thing I do every single day. One tiny scoop of yummy green powder in a little bottle of water, 12 ounces maybe, ice cold, you're done. You don't have to take Flintstones vitamins anymore. You barely have to drink coffee. Because studies have shown it keeps you more energized than coffee.
Wow.
So listen, don't take our word for it. Give it a shot. Place an order now, athleticgreens.com/HardLore. You're getting 5 free travel packs.
5 free travel packs and a little vial of vitamin DK drops.
That's right. And you need that. The sun is going away. It is spooky out there now.
Very good point. The sun is going away for a while. Everyone needs vitamin D, and this is a year supply.
That's right. This green delicious substance changed our lives. Our genetic makeups are different, I believe. Yeah, you can't quote me. AG1, don't get mad at that. It's different. He's buff as hell now, and I'm very skinny. Yeah, and it's also Manscaped time, as always.
It's always Manscaped time. I got a clock, and it's got 12 Manscapes on it.
That's right.
That's all it is. It's only
Good answer. Good answer. Our crops are always revived.
Oh.
Our crops are always preserved. They're always cleansed. They're always hedged. They're always trimmed. TMI, perhaps.
Maybe.
You are my favorite listener if you use code HardLore to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com.
And hey, let's be honest. The seasons are coming. You're going to need Christmas stuff soon.
That's right.
It's starting. Let's go.
That's right. Just start now. Just do it now.
Start now.
Okay? You'll thank us later. You will literally thank us later. You can thank us now.
You better thank
for this incredible episode with Scott Vogel. Back to the episode.
Yeah.
So tell me about Buried Alive, the conception, and like you said, having Victory behind you. Because at that time, there's no better place to be.
Right.
Okay, so on the Despair Hatebreed tour, we played in Chicago at the Knights of Columbus or whatever that place is.
Arlington Heights, yes, sir.
And Tony Brummel came out, and I remember him watching Despair and thinking, we're having a pretty good show. Chicago was pretty good to Despair. And we go into like a judge cover, and I'm like, all right, this is where the crowd's going to really go off. And I think he was like amateurs and just left the room. And I can remember, I think he was bummed out we did a cover. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking this. But so
I have those moments too where I'll see somebody in the back and be like, oh, that's cool. They're watching. Oh, they left.
They hate us. We're all. Yeah.
You never forget those.
So I think he sees Hatebreed for the first time there. And later in that tour in California, we played in Riverside, California with Strife. Brummel flies out to that show. I see him in front of, like, at the show, I see Hatebreed sign the contracts. Strife also plays. And he asks me if Despair will do a 7-inch. So now I'm like, we're the shit. Life's amazing. We're going to be on Victory. We do the Hatebreed tour. We go to Europe for the second time. We get back from Europe. 2 people quit the band and Despair dies. And I'm like, I was just going to be on Victory. My life's dreams are shattered.
So you're telling me, so Despair and Buried Alive are kind of a Sam Hain Danzig situation.
I don't know what that means, and I hope not.
Well, in terms of Buried Alive, you did it right. You know it was just about to happen. You're talking signing, and then it's a whole new thing by the time it actually happens.
No, this was Despair is going to do a record with Victory.
Right.
Yeah, Colin, you just misspoke. You said Buried Alive on it.
Oh, my bad.
He just misspoke.
The reason I say this is because when Buried Alive starts and puts out a demo, I send it to Victory and they say yes right away.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Fuck yeah.
So it was kind of like I had my foot in the door already and they heard the demo and said yes.
Gotcha. So something I remember you telling me is that because Satisfaction did so well, it put a lot of pressure on Buried Alive to just sound like Hatebreed.
I know. I think what you're saying, what you're thinking of is when we gave Tony the Death of Your Perfect World, the Buried Alive record, he said, his reply to me was, this doesn't sound like Hatebreed. And I was like, did you hear our demo? Did you hear the 7-inch you put out for us? It sounds like us. So I think maybe he wanted us to, but and I definitely Hatebreed influenced Buried Alive. I think Buried Alive wanted to be all out war, turmoil, mix in some all out war and Hatebreed. I think that's where Buried Alive comes from.
You can hear that for sure. Yeah, I mean the
100%.
Hatebreedness. I would say was you guys being like, what the hell are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
I wish
we're
different.
Yeah, we're different. Yeah. Wow.
Maybe 2, because he sent us to Tracks East or whatever. Steve Evans. Maybe he was just in his head. He's like, I need another Hatebreed, but
who does?
Wasn't meant
we
to
all
be.
Do.
So tell me about putting the Buried Alive records together. Tell me about some tours you did.
I was very hesitant to join Buried Alive. They had the band started without me. Jesse, the drummer, was also one of the early drummers for Despair in our heyday, or in our prime, I'll say.
Okay.
And he quit the band because he wanted to spend more time with his girlfriend. So when he's asking me to be in another band, I'm kind of like,
not with you.
Yeah.
Did you guys break up? Or,
And they were, it was again members of Buffalo bands that had broken up. One being a band called Hourglass, who definitely was a good band, but way, way outside my wheelhouse. Like screamo, like noisy, like roll around on the floor, like totally
amazing core.
Totally different than what I was into. So when I heard the early Buried Alive stuff, I was like, and this is just, I lived with the guitarist. So I would hear their like practice tapes. Sometimes I would go with them to practice and they're asking me to sing for them. And I'm saying, no, thank you. But I can hear, because that Buried Alive, Death of Your Perfect World record is pretty fucking good.
Yes. Certified.
And it's pretty unique.
I agree, Scott.
It's pretty unique. It like, they did. I would say for sure that I'm the weak part of that record. Musically, the writing is really good and really unique. And I could hear it, but I just didn't want, like Slugfest died, Buried Alive died, or Despair died. I was kind of like, had my guard up. I was like, I just don't want to do a band, but I could hear there was something special in this. So eventually I said, okay, I'll do it. We start playing shows. We do the demo. We get on Victory right away. They put out the 7-inch. Trying to think of early tours for Buried Alive. I mean, we did, this isn't early, this is super late, but we did like the VOD Scarhead Candiria tour. That was really cool.
And how big is that at that time?
For me, big. Probably the biggest shows I had ever played.
Right.
But VOD was definitely coming down from their prime. Scarhead was at their prime.
And then Candiria was like running shit for a while.
Right. And we're playing for this. This is, I believe, the first time where there's doors at 7, you're on at 7:15. Too bad. A lot of, but at that time it was fine. Oh, and another really cool Buried Alive tour was Snapcase Saves the Day. What are they called? Snapcase Kid Dynamite. Buried Alive Saves the Day. I think that was the tour we did.
That's a sick tour, dude.
That's a crazy tour.
That was pretty wild. Like the All Out War, full US with All Out War with Reach the Sky and a lot of it. Buried Alive would play with Reach the Sky all the time. All Out War all the time. Death Threat all the time. That was kind of like the bands we would play with.
Do any big stories or instances come to mind from any of those tours or hanging out with any of those bands?
I was thinking about like the second day of the Buried Alive tour. It was I can't remember where it was, and I don't know I know Ezak, but I don't know Ezak. And they're about to go on stage, and he, for some reason, I'm on stage like getting ready to watch them play, and he like comes to me and gives me his wallet and watch and says, hold this while we play. And I'm like, of course I say yes, but I'm like, I don't want to be in this position. What if,
something happens? Yeah.
What if I want to mosh?
Well, you know that? Yo, Ezak, I lost your wallet. Like that's not going to go over very good. I mean, being on tour with them around the country, there was some incidents. They were pretty wild. A lot of the stories that come to my head are kind of negative, and I don't about me being kind of a jerk sometimes. I had a little thing with Saves the Day that I don't really like, and Dave Wagenschutz, the drummer of Lifetime, and Kid Dynamite, me and him wrestled once, but it got kind of serious where we almost got into it. sick drummer.
You love Lifetime, right?
Oh my God, I love Lifetime.
I mean, we talked briefly earlier about your love for melodic stuff, but like, people don't really know you are maybe Hot Water Music's #1 fan.
Greatest band ever.
It's probably the first thing I knew about Scott off stage was that he loves Hot Water Music.
That's right. The show ends, the Hot Water Music begins.
Rival Schools, Texas is the Reason, Quicksand, Sam I Am, Falling Forward, Elliot, Split Lip. I mean, put on Cold as Life, amazing. But put on Falling Forward, just as amazing for me.
Wow.
And Bold. Like, I think this is why I have a lot of friends in the hardcore scene, and it may be because I've been around for a long time, but also like I know people from all these different scenes, whether it's like the toughest band or the weakest band, because if it's real to me, I like it.
You like it all, except for Snapcase.
Again, back to that first tour, you made us take both of your iPods because you had two.
Okay.
One was like heavy and one was like hip hop and like,
oh, I like hip hop too.
Hip hop and like like the melodic stuff.
Nice.
And you were like, take this. You're listening to this tonight.
I think I'll take the hip hop melodic one now more days.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you've done your time in the pit.
Was your love for hip hop, like, was it ongoing during all this time?
Yeah, for sure. I even got into like Run DMC and stuff before I even knew what hardcore was, and it never stopped. I do want to say for the record, I have a very good relationship with Snapcase now. I actually saw their guitarist John Salemi. Was it last night? I went to a show. I saw Shelter 2 days ago. He was there.
Damn.
Great. No,
I'm just ribbing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but I can't let it go. Like I got.
Speaking of Shelter, I'm happy to cut this one too. I heard they had there was a mistaken identity incident with Shelter in Buffalo one time,
where they got beaten into the hospital.
Yeah,
that's a tough one. This again, the stories of zero tolerance. I mean, the short version that I know, and this, I was at the show, but I would left because it happened after the show. I think the story is Zero Tolerance was out front. This is when they're in their not straight edge phase, kind of mean phase, drinking and stuff. Mark, the singer's still, I think, has always been straight edge. I think they got into some altercation with like local, the city or the show was in not the nicest area of Buffalo. They had some words with some local kids or maybe adults. Everyone left. Shelter was at the show by themselves, and Shelter was huge at the time. There's probably like 800 people at the show, and it was in this warehouse where you could drive into it.
I know this story. This is crazy.
So these people come back thinking Shelter's the people that were outside fucking with them with a bunch of their friends and weapons. They block the place you leave and all got out and kind of just, I mean, this isn't nice, but they just beat Shelter and everybody up that was there. Something like that.
So they thought Shelter was Zero Tolerance. So Zero Tolerance were the instigators here.
Wow. I think so.
I read
a lot
that
of
story.
mythos.
I read that story because Porcel talked about it in some interview a long time ago, and I read his telling of it.
There's a song. I'm not sure, but if you're in after Mantra, a couple records like kind of on the not what I would call not the greatest part of Shelter. There's a song like. It says we were in Buffalo, we got beat up, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's that cut and paste, but it says Buffalo, beat up, blah, blah, blah.
Damn. Yeah, that's a
Zero
cool
Tolerance, man. They strike again. They're back. It always comes back to Zero Tolerance. All right, so tell me about Buried Alive ending.
Yes.
And California Scott being born.
So Buried Alive does stuff. Cool tours. Put out some records. Much like with Snapcase, at the end of Buried Alive, I wasn't on the greatest terms with some of the people in the band. Now that I'm back in Buffalo and we've played shows again, I have an appreciation for them and understanding of their side of it. So I don't want to like really be too harsh, but I'll say I wasn't feeling the band anymore. We had a tour booked with Death Threat, so I didn't want to bail on the tour, but I knew on that tour with Death Threat, as soon as we got home, that I was going to quit the band. And I take full responsibility. I bailed on those guys. We played our last show, the last show of the tour in Buffalo. I was also living with these dudes, and I told them, this is our last show, and I'm not your roommate anymore. I'm moving to California tomorrow. I got a rider truck. I was dating a girl in Chicago. I went and picked her up in Chicago, and we moved to LA. And I did a really, I did it pretty crappy to Buried Alive, but the band was just going in a direction that I couldn't stomach anymore. And I've said some things in interviews before that they contest that I said was going on with the band. So I don't want to bring that up, but the band was just, to me, it was over, and I just bailed. I was gone.
Yeah, sure.
And that's part of you. We grow, we learn, we never stop learning. We never stop growing. Would you do it differently now? Maybe. But I mean, everything works out. But Buried Alive came back. You've written some cool new songs. You guys are on great terms, and now you sing in the best hardcore band ever.
So when you were moving to California, you mentioned earlier that you expected your musical output to be done at this point.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking, again, every band I was in did semi-cool stuff, and I think I was kind of like, these were times when, and this definitely led to people quitting the bands and leaving the bands. I was like a total stress case, control freak, band Nazi, my way. I know we're going to do it this way. I was totally like that. So that didn't help anything. But, so I had a friend, Mark, he was from Buffalo, and he had recently moved to Arizona and he had some money from, he got hit by a car when he was younger. So he had this money. So he had moved out to Arizona and built a brand new house. And on that tour with Death Threat, on the tour with Death Threat, Buried Alive stayed there. And I told him, and he invited me and my girlfriend at the time so we actually moved to Arizona. And for maybe 6 months, we went and visited San Diego. We went and visited LA. I think we had planned to check out the Bay, and we're kind of figuring out what we were going to do. And then Terror happened. I got the call from, the crazy thing is John LaCroix from 10 Yard Fight started Terror, is the reason Terror happened, but blew off the first two practices. So never was in Terror, but started Terror.
So was it John, Nick, and Todd?
Yeah, that was the plan. Wow. I can give you some more tidbit. I'm in Arizona. Reesh gets my phone number, calls me, and says, "Do you want to sing in 100 Demons?" And I was like, motherfucker, I just drove, I didn't have the money to almost move to California and go back. I didn't have any money. All these times, I had no money. I'm working bullshit telemarketing jobs, fucking whatever, doing these bands that made barely anything, which was fine. I didn't care. But
that wasn't the goal.
Moving across country, going back, but that's like a crazy thought to think about. If he would have caught me before I left, and I would have ended up in 100 Demons, that could have been
what a wild alternate reality.
That could have been crazy. Wow. So
you would have had to do a lot of apparatic vocal training to do that self-titled record.
I don't think that would have happened. My friend Larry, who's from Buffalo, that was working at Revelation Records at the time, gave me a tape, and it had No Warning, 7-inch on one side, who I already knew because I had played with their As We Once Were, and I had seen No Warning once, but I never heard them. So that the first 7-inch fucking amazing. No Warning is unbelievable.
Yep.
B-side, Carry On, A Life Less Plagued, who I had never heard of. But, I mean, Carry On, A Life Less Plagued is amazing. I call it like Turning Point on steroids, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to this tape. I'm like, okay, hardcore is pretty fucking cool. This is fucking cool. I come home one day. I don't know how John LaCroix got my fucking phone number, to be honest. Maybe from Larry. So I get this phone, and I don't really know John LaCroix. Like Buried Alive and 10 Yard Fight did not run in the same circles.
Right.
So not that there was anything weird, but I was metalcore, and Stigmata, they were Youth of Today and In My Eyes and all that stuff. It did, we played shows together, but I wasn't expecting John LaCroix to call me. Hey, Scott, this is John LaCroix. I heard you moved out west or are moving to California. I just started a band with 2 dudes from Carry On. We want you to sing. I was like, God damn, that Carry On record's good. I got to investigate this situation. So,
wow. So you still in Arizona at the time?
I'm at Arizona. I drive, 5 hours from Mesa, Arizona to Nick Jet in Granada Hills house, the infamous Nick Jet house.
Mm-hmm.
And I just...
In the fucking valley, as you would say?
Yes. I don't know him at all. I don't know Todd at all. I just know Todd's riffs. I don't even know what Todd Jones is.
Yeah.
I walk into this house. They blaze through like three songs. I remember saying to myself, I hope this drummer hits hard and can play a fast part. Boy, did I underestimate.
No, you found your like creative muse.
Yeah,
that day,
and I think they were like, let's get some hamburgers and go to a strip club. And I was like, I'm I don't know how much older I am than them, but maybe 5 years older, maybe 7. I can't, maybe 10 at the most. So they're definitely younger than me. And I'm like, okay, they want to go to a strip club and they want to eat a hamburger. Oh, actually, I'm vegan at this time. So no hamburger for me.
How long does that last?
I was vegan for like 12 years, probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ended. Sell out.
Well, I think you were, Earth Crisis thanked you a lot in liner notes and whatnot.
I'm on thank you. The Path of Resistance record says like thank you to these straight edge soldiers, and I'm in there, and they definitely knew. They knew I wasn't straight edge, but
should I grab it and check? I have it on my wall.
Like I'm saying, Scott, you are now. You always fucking were. That's how it works now. You're vegan. You're hanging out with Todd and Nick for the first time. Sparks are flying.
And
do you recall what songs were written that day?
I don't even know if they became Terror songs. It was just the vibe, and it was so perfect. And Todd, Nick was crazy, Todd was crazy, and it was just like, holy shit, I can't say no. So I go back to LA. I say to the girl at the time, I'm like, what do you think about moving to LA and me doing this band? And we end up in North Hollywood in a studio apartment. And I was in the valley. Is Burbank the valley? Burbank's the valley to me.
Burbank is technically an unincorporated area, but valley goes as far east as Glendale.
Okay, so I was
technically, yes,
in the valley for 18 years and have been in Terror for 23, I think.
That's what I like to hear, Scott. And that's the thing that I want to be clear here, that the best hardcore band of all time is from the valley. So pretty cool.
You think Terror is a better hardcore band than Agnostic Front?
It's different.
I'm glad
you can't classify it as better than, but in terms of like, you're on LP 9, and I love every single one. You're right in LP 10. And I love it already.
It's also a matter of like you were talking about before, how Integrity put out a 7-inch, changed the game. A few years later, Earth Crisis put out a 7-inch, changed the game. Now you're singing for a band who, when I heard the Terror demo and then Lowest of the Low, it was like, oh, this changes what I like at this moment. Like this, I like. It
this also
now.
morphed the definition of California hardcore.
Yeah,
to me, and I'm from here, so I think that opinion counts a little bit.
I could sort of see, when Terror started, it was at that peak of 18 Visions and Throwdown and Bleeding Through and Every Time I Die. All those bands, which I'm friends with all of them. So, I know those bands know that that's not really my musical wheelhouse. And they all took us on tour and were all very kind to us. And on Low Solo, Todd's wearing a Bleeding Through shirt. So these are our peers. Mm-hmm. But we definitely saw that, wanted to do something different. And I could see the landscape of hardcore shift. We didn't change everything, but there was a lot of people who one day had a type of haircut and a couple of months later had no hair. And I'll take that as a win for hardcore.
You think that has anything to do with a particular shirt Terror put out? It's one of my Grail shirts that I would love to find.
Scott's got one for you, I'm sure. So tell me about early days of Terror, demo, Lowest of the Low,
Jim Grimes'
tours
birthday.
At that time. Yeah.
Early days of Terror, it all happened so fast, and it was a long time ago. But I think the beautiful thing about Terror was I was sort of mentally on a mission, and the mission wasn't to get on a big label or sell records, or I just wanted shows to go off. It's all I wanted. I had been in bands that shows kind of went off or once in a while went off, but I knew with the sound Terror had and the energy, the goal was to just make people go off. And me, Nick and Todd and all the people, Terror's been great that in the since we've had one lineup change in the last 14 years, which is kind of crazy. So, it's been really stable, but the early days, there's a lot of lineup changes and people coming and going. But everyone was kind of just like, no questions asked. They knew we were just going to tour. We were happy to play. Like one tour we're out with 18 Visions and Throwdown. The next month we're with Blood for Blood. The next month, it was just, we would play with any band. Another good thing about Terror was I'm from the East Coast, a little bit older. Nick and Todd are from the West Coast. I know people more from, I know people from Death Threat and Stigmata and Kid Dynamite and Saves the Day and Snapcase. But Todd knows everyone from Floor Punch and Chris Wren and 10 Yard Fight and Carry On had toured and knew people, and I knew people. We're a little different age, East Coast, West Coast. So we kind of knew, I don't want to say almost everybody, but lots of people in the scene.
You knew the right people to make things work.
Yeah, and we were just ready to go. We all said, we didn't ask many questions. There was nothing like, what you want to tour with this band? Like, what are we getting paid? What slot are we playing? How big will our name be on the flyer? Like, hardcore's like so professional now. Back even then when Terror started, none of those things. It was just, we're playing now. Let's attack the fucking crowd. Let's go. And it'd be like, play, run to the merch, sweating, sell the merch, go mosh for whatever band's playing, drive all night, sleep in the van, sleep at people's houses. I think
the Scott Vogel story.
I don't think Terror ever really lost money because merch was really good always. Because we had like a nice hype right away.
Yeah.
We went to Europe immediately, like Lowest of the Low came out. I don't know if it was before or after, but we went to Europe with Biohazard. Like, and in Europe, we're playing for like 700 to 1,500 people a night. I had never done anything remotely like that. Maybe like the biggest VOD show at the Glass House was like, what, 900 people at the Glass House?
Yeah, something like this that, was 7 like, or 9.
This was like that every night. And Biohazard over there are bona fide. Like they're coming down off their high point, but they're like bona fide stars, are like camera, like TV shows, and like Tara Patrick, like Evan was dating that porn star, I guess, Tara Patrick. So that's a whole new world. So now we're seeing like Despair had gone to Europe, Buried Alive had gone to Europe, but very DIY, very tiny. This is on a bus. This is the first time I'm on a bus, and we got to go to Japan right away, Australia right away. Those were firsts for me.
Wow.
Hatebreed's taking us out. We're like Hot Topics, like a big thing, and they're ordering 2,000 shirts, and we're getting a check for $10,000, and I get like $1,000 of that. That's never
unimaginable.
Yeah, right. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So it's very clear immediately that Terror is kind of like this era-defining band. It's just like, oh, okay, this is working. This thing that I didn't know, this aspect of this genre that I've been in my whole life, I'm now experiencing this for the first time on my 5th band.
Yes, this is going too good to be true. I don't think I thought like that though. I just, when you're in it, it's just all happening. It's all happening. It's all happening. I'm sure I'm getting a touch of ego. Like every show's good. Every label wants us. Like, it's hard to like not get caught up in that a little bit, but I think I've always been pretty level-headed.
And is this all still Lowest of the Low?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Todd leaves, which was tough. That was tough. Scary.
That was right towards the end of making one with the Underdogs, right?
No, that was in Europe. Todd took me and Nick for a walk or whatever, and was just like, super. Todd can be very blunt and a little bit, too blunt sometimes, but he very maturely.
If anything, he's gonna be straight up with you.
Yeah, but very maturely, he was like, touring is just like mentally, and I think he's, you see Nails is, they tour very minimal. And I think just that touring's tough. I mean, it sounds like fun, but it is fucking tough.
Right.
I'm happy to say though, I saw Nails 2 nights ago. And one of the first things that Todd said, I don't think he would mind me even saying this, was he was like, I missed this. This has been awesome.
Nice.
It was nice. Beautiful. It was good to hear, But we never got. So how did you name Terror? What was the story with that?
So Matt Pike hit me up. So Terror's first show was at Pat's Warehouse. But before that, we must have got this call from Matt Pike. Okay. Matt Pike hit me up and said, hey, I heard you have a new band. I'm doing a 4-day West Coast thing with Death Threat, American Nightmare, Striking Distance. Do you guys want to play? Hell fucking yeah.
Of course.
What's the name of your band? We don't have one. So I had a Sheer Terror videotape next to my TV, and I just took the sheer away, and there it was.
Wow.
So beautiful. Thank you, Paul. It's
so funny that could even work, because it's literally like me being like, of today. It's like nothing like that would work.
So who got in touch with Scott McGrath? Because he did the logo. He did the first few layouts.
Right. When I first moved to LA, and I knew like Andrew from Strife. I didn't know Larry, but that he was in Orange County. The only person I really knew in the Valley that was not part of the Terror crew was Andrew. But like from Carry On and Knife Fight and Corey and all these people, they had
Corey.
They had this whole crew of people, and I think Scott McGrath I think Todd had an apartment that he lived with Matt Smith, who was the first bass player. And I think maybe, I don't know, but all these people, Jeff Givens, like kind of like the whole Carry On mosh team and people, they all hung out together. So these are the first people that were always around all the Terror shows and stuff. And, you know, things were so, and Todd was kind of taking the lead on a lot of things. I think Todd got the demo done. And I think Matt Smith made that eagle logo, which is still something we use all the time.
Iconic.
I think Todd was like, we wrote 2 more songs, and Scott McGrath, maybe Piece by Piece. I don't know what the timing, but Piece by Piece was happening too. So, you know, like, it's funny, like the first Terror show, Terror played under Piece by Piece. Like, so Nick's doing double duties right away.
Was that at Headline Records?
That was at this place called Pat's Warehouse, I think in Ventura. Tiny little no stage show. That was the first Terror show, and then I think we did those the shows with Ann, and you know, and Todd had all the connections in California because he booked shows in like Ojai, so he got us on all the Corona shows and Chain Reaction, and it was really too easy. Like it was, you know, like it was pretty easy.
So you move and you immediately fall into this unbelievable situation. It's like, oh fuck, man, this is way better.
It was, but you know what wasn't easy?
Huh?
Okay, I'm in Buffalo. I'm going to Erie. That's an hour and a half. I can get to shows in Hamilton, Ontario, crossing into a different country, hour and 20 minutes. I'm going from North Hollywood to Corona, and it could take 4
hours. Yeah.
I would be like, what? How can there be traffic like this?
Dude, being a band in the Northeast is truly the biggest cheat code. You think we've got it easy because we're in California and a lot of people live here, but that means there's a billion shows here every single day. And B, there's like 5 places. There's like 5 cities to play within 6 hours.
It's insane.
And if you live in New York City, you live in Boston, you live in Baltimore, you're a 2-hour drive from a different show at all times. You can book a 10-day tour with hour-long drives every single day and have an incredible tour.
Every time we're on a tour and it spends a week or 2 on the East Coast, that's the best part of the tour.
That's the best part.
Buffalo's kind of good because I can get to Boston in for band-wise, Boston in 7 hours, down to DC.
Boston, New York, or Massachusetts?
Then Detroit, Chicago's like 10.
Yeah,
like
true.
You can hit you're close to the Midwest, Cleveland, all those places.
I think Philadelphia is probably the best one to be based out of. Because that's nice. Like 2 hours from every other city.
Everywhere.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So tell me about rolling into one with the Underdogs now. Pressure's high, anticipation's high. The big follow-up. We're recording it. We're recording this one in Van Nuys at Sound City, Scott.
Was it really? Damn.
Yeah. So
with a broken china.
When Todd leaves the band, he says he wants to just not tour. He wants to stay on and write, and we were totally cool with that. So same thing. Todd wrote all of One with the Underdogs. Me and Nick, you know, obviously gave some input. Yeah. One with the Underdog, that was a little bit of a weird situation with Todd in the band, but not fully in the band because we're going out and touring and he's missing some of that. So there's a little bit of weirdness with that.
Sure.
I mean, I hate to say this, but we got a pretty bad recording at Sound City. The mix was really bad. We had it remixed. I mean, just like I said with the Buried Alive LP, the vocals were the worst part. I think the thing that really saved One with the Underdogs, because the songs are amazing. The drumming's amazing. The guitar's amazing. Everything, I don't know if it was tracked wrong or it just doesn't, the recording is not correct. but the vocals and the lyrics to me really save that record because they're just real and
they're timeless. Scott,
the delivery
you've made just timeless, perfect hardcore songs there.
I remember reading "With a Heart Made of Steel," like that line, and that was in my head, just like the cadence was in my head in high school, like daily. I was just like, it was an immediate thing, and a very early representation of a music video from that record that I liked, that I thought was cool. And I don't think hardcore music videos are very easy to do and pull off.
The Overcome video, right?
Overcome video.
Okay, you want a great story from the Overcome video shoot?
I really do.
So this is when me and Dre from Donnybrook, Martine's brother, are really becoming good at drinking together. And I'm still living on Clump Avenue in North Hollywood. This is when Corey's house is like the party house in Woodland Hills. He's got this apartment. And this is where everyone's hanging out all the time. Lots of trouble, lots of trouble. So let's say Terror comes and picks me up and Dre is already day drinking. He comes into my house and I have this amazing, it's like a coffee cup, like a plastic tall coffee cup, death threat cup. And he goes into my, which I've never really seen since then. He goes into my cupboard or cabinet or whatever. And he like is going to take this to the video shoot. And he starts drinking. And I'm like, dude, whatever you do, don't lose that cup. I want that cup. So he's drinking. End of the night, then the thing shows up or everything, the video gets shot. We end up at Corey's house and I ask him for the cup. He's like, he's gone. The cup's gone. But you can see in that video, he throws it. It goes across the screen on the video.
Here it is.
Steven, thank you.
Wow.
Holy dude, that's so funny because one of my favorite things about that video is Dre being front and center pretty much the entire time. He's like your muscle in that one.
Do you know this guy, Big Zach?
Yes.
He used to be part of the Donnybrook troublemaker crew. Really, actually a nice guy. I remember at that video shoot. So it's what is that called? Where we did that shoot in
the LA River,
right? So we're in there. We set up
scenic, historic.
We're set
beautiful
up,
LA River.
We invite kids, so there's all these hardcore kids there, and it's like we're gonna put on the music, and all these kids are supposed to mosh, and it's super awkward. And I'm definitely like half drunk already. So I'm already like, this is super awkward, but I'm kind of drunk so I can get through it. And I think we did like the first 2 takes of the song and everyone's just kind of staring at us and it sucks. And then somehow Big Zach, I think he like pounded a beer and threw it and just started moshing and he like saved the whole video or it would have been just like dead. So
MVP.
Wow.
Thank you, Big Zach.
This is Big Zach that works with Panic at the Disco and other bands.
Yes.
As well, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's out there. Wow. Yeah, that video is historic. A lot of friends in there. A lot of recognizable faces.
It was on like Fuse TV and shit. Like the Xfinity. I don't remember what it's called anymore, but it was like the like video on demand thing. You could like watch it, and we used to watch it, and it would be like my girlfriend's girlfriend video, Punishment, and then the Terror video. It was because it was all a hodgepodge. It was all mixed up. But I remember sitting and watching with my friends and being like, oh, wow.
That record came out on Trustkill, and he was like Trustkill was like a pretty serious label. And that's when, that record kind of sold. So he was putting money into us and getting us cool stuff and Hot Topic bullshit and played on whatever MTV2 and shit like that. So, Terror never got big, but, we were doing, for a hardcore band that played traditional hardcore that had no look or like gimmick or anything, we were doing decent stuff.
So who's in the band at this? So Todd leaves. Does Martine immediately join?
3 Guns, baby.
Yeah,
3 Gun, baby. My God.
What was the other guy? Doug?
Doug?
So we went, Rich Thurston was in the band for a while on bass, and then we got Carl.
Right?
Carl from First Blood. Right. So that's kind of, and then Busky. That's kind of the bass lineage up to David Wood. At this time, we had Doug.
Because Martine's in that video. Is he just Martine from Donnybrook in that video?
Martine came in right after we recorded Always the Hard Way. He's on the band photo of that.
Okay.
So I think it was Doug and Todd for a little bit. Todd leaves. We get 3 Gun. 3 Gun leaves, and we get Martine.
Now, what's that conversation like when 3 Gun leaves? Do you understand or are you bummed? Yeah.
Terrible. I got Snapcased again, and I don't want to I was outside of Corona Showcase crying to Frank. It hurt, and Frank's one of my best friends, one of my oldest friends. I met Frank when I got the Confront demo, and it didn't have lyrics. I wrote to the P.O. box, and he hand sent me, I wish I still had them, the Confront lyrics to their demo.
Whoa.
Frank's a great person. And again, like Tim from Snapcase, I see you get asked to be in Hatebreed. That's hard to pass up. But it was just, Hatebreed was always one step above Terror. And it just, the way it went, I mean, I don't really want to put it out there, but it's like we're at the studio, at Zeus's studio, recording Always the Hard Way. Frank's there with us. He's leaving and going, hanging out and learning the hate. I think he's learning the Hatebreed stuff. We take a band photo with Frank in it. I'm wearing a Hatebreed shirt. We drive back. We do shows to get back to California. The last show's at Corona. It's weird. Martine's the one that told me. Martine's like, I don't know, but I got some bad news. Frank's quitting Terror to be in Hatebreed. And
Martine was plotting.
I was so shook. I wasn't bawling, but tears were coming out of my eyes out of anger and adrenaline.
That's real. That's raw. That's love, dude. That's love for your friend Frank. That's love for your art. That's passion.
You're right.
So Frank leaves and goes into Hatebreed, and that I remember Martine had a few times been putting the bug in my ear that he wanted to be in Terror. So Andrea is one of my really good friends, and I'm not going to do to him what Frank. I hate saying this because I love Hatebreed.
No, because Frank is a beloved friend of the show. He's listening right now. He understands. And look, it's like when your ex-girlfriend, she gets with another guy. At least she marries that guy.
Right.
True.
I understand what my mom did. I understand what my mom did. I understand what Tim did with Snapcase. I understand what Frank did. And
absolutely,
it all worked out for the best.
And he's still in Hatebreed, and he is so Frank now. That's the Frank he was always meant to be.
The Floridian.
And Martine, think about Terror without Martine.
I took Dre aside, and I was like, because Donnybrook at this time is doing a lot. They're like
big time.
I think actually they had, I could be wrong, but I think they had kind of started to say they're going to tour less. Whatever. I took Dre aside and I said, hey, this is being talked about. What do you think? And he was more adult than me. He said the thing that I should have said to Frank. Terror is doing beautiful things. Please take my brother so he can do them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I can't imagine a Terror without Martine at this point.
Dude, he on and off stage, he's just an adult that did, like before we started doing this and you guys had to tell me to touch this button when Terror has to do a backdrop that's digital or all these things He's amazing in so
it's
many
done.
ways.
Don't worry.
And Terror at this point is in like Nick. All Nick cares about is running and being calm and normal. I'm like a different person. Martine gets so much stuff done, but when Jordan is and Linkovich, everyone is amazing, and I can't remember the last time Terror's had an argument. It's been years, and it used to be daily.
Man, this lineup is like this is Terror.
Scott, when you argue with someone, does the voice ever come out?
the like little.
No, your voice. Have you ever argued with someone that hard that the Terror
noticed
voice?
You were singing?
Me and Dre have a thing called the voice, which is a joking thing, but I hope not.
Okay, good.
I strictly reserve that for the stage.
That's fair. So, you said 23 years of Terror now?
Mm.
Do you have, it is absolutely insane. Do you have a favorite Terror album?
Oh.
Like something you put on, you go, we fucking did that, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because I would say Keepers of the Faith, but it's not for the music because there's songs on Keepers of the Faith that I don't think that are that good.
I will say being, witnessing that firsthand, the rollout, the anticipation.
Yeah.
It was so impressive how and I feel like it was just this perfect lightning in a bottle thing. The rebirth and the movement that it created behind Terror was unbelievable.
I remember the Rain Fest that year, right before it came out. Terror played and you guys were playing it in the green room just to show band members, just to show people. And everyone was like, yo, they got the dude from No Warning. It was like a whole thing. I remember being really excited about it.
Yeah, that movement was really special. But there's some, Stick Tight is one of the greatest Terror songs ever. But there's some songs in there I could lose. One with the Underdogs, it also has too many songs. If I could chop off a few filler songs on one with the Underdogs and give it a new cover, because the tied up dude, I don't need that. That would probably be it. Losa Low is...
Dude, I put that cover on we had our best album openers episode.
Yeah.
And I had that guy as the thumbnail for a bit, in the background. And I was like, I can't use this fucking guy.
Yeah. No one needs that guy.
It is cool. It's iconic cover regardless. You would say those two?
Yes, and the Pain and the Power, the new one. There's there's pretty much nothing I'd change about that. It's the feeling of the first two I will take over the new one, because after you've done something for 23 years and did 7,000 million shows and all those things, it's a different energy, and I like where we're at. But it can't compare to those early days when it was just insane back then.
That's just being a band, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Something that's crazy is 9 LPs deep. For me, if I'm going to see a band I love and they're playing, and I know they're playing a couple songs from the 9th record, I'm like, fuck. Sure. They're gonna play stuff from that 9th one. When Terror plays fucking Boundless Contempt, I'm like, okay, all-time Terror banger coming up. And that's from the 9th goddamn album.
Yeah.
That is a lot to do with Todd. Todd, I don't think there's Terror records I like less, but there's not a Terror record that I really think we fucked up or posed on or anything. But Todd came and produced the newest record. He also wrote some lyrics on it. There's songs on the newest record that Todd wrote start to finish, lyrics, vocal pattern.
Whoa.
Yeah. He came in and said, doing that Terror record during the pandemic and me, Todd, and Nick getting together in Granada Hills again 20 years later was a trip. It was very strange, but in an awesome way. But there would be days when I think we were getting together every other Sunday because we were in no rush. So there'd be days where Todd would come in. I have a new song. I got the lyrics. And he'd rip the whole thing out. We'd demo it with him singing. I'd be like, "Whoa, that song's perfect." And I didn't have to do anything. It was
the dream.
Yeah. At this point, I'd say the first half of Terror, I would never accept lyrics from someone else. At this point, like when we were doing that record with Will Putney, Total Retaliation, I would try to get people, like he has this whole little compound. So we would track stuff during the day and I'd like assemble a team. Who wants to help write lyrics? And we'd play it in one of the smaller rooms and like the more help I can get and input someone, because my brain only works so like in certain ways. My hooks are going to be the same. I'm going to use the same words. My vocabulary is the same. So getting other input is totally great.
You and I talked about, there's one of the songs on there that you asked me about helping with lyrics. I think it was, I don't want to know you. Is that a song? I Don't Know You.
Yeah.
I don't think I ended up helping at all, but I think the title we collaborated on.
Yeah, and Ben Cook helped. You were at that the one time. Ben Cook on a couple records totally helped. Like getting like someone to help me with anything, I'm totally open to.
I've done gang vocals on 4 Terror albums now. So
well, with what I know, I would assume it'll be on the next one coming up too. We got a game plan coming together that's heavily Valley heavy. I don't know the right word.
No, you nailed it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Something I want to talk about, Scott, that really was prevalent during the one with the Underdogs days are a little thing that exploded online.
Oh God!
Oh no!
Called Vogelisms.
Oh. Okay, I thought you were going to go somewhere else.
No. You were like one of the first memes, I feel.
Yeah, like as far as the internet goes, because
move up, like moving company.
More stage dives.
I need more stage dives in the monitors and stuff. I remember when that happened, and I was kind of mad at first. Like I took it as like being made fun of, maybe.
Sure, yeah.
And I found out it was there must have been a contact thing on it or something. It was a female in Toronto, and she was like, I was like, you got to take this down. And she was like, I love your band. You guys are like my favorite band. Can I please just leave this up? And I was just like, yeah, sure. But I'm not like someone that really, as time goes on more, I'm kind of a hermit and kind of keep my space, and I'm not very social. And I think touring for 20 years straight would kind of do that to most people.
Yeah,
but I was just kind of anti it until I found out, if you take yourself too seriously, like here's another thing I'll say. Some of those things I've never said, like, just like I was saying, lyric vocabulary, there's just some things I would never say in my life. I would there's certain phrases that would never come out of my mouth. But if you take a look back, it was kind of fun. It was.
And there
fun.
are things that you hear that you did, and you're like, "That sounds like something I would do."
Oh, there's like for sure.
Like handing me 40 euros.
Oh no!
And saying, "Go get me 5 Big Macs," and then I go get you 5 Big Macs in your sleep.
Oh man, there's so many times in Europe when, like, me and Errol would go buy 50 hamburgers and then put them under everyone's pillows in their bunks. People would be like, "What's this?" Oh, hell yeah!
That's a beautiful moment.
I have a kind of a stupid question.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s, did you ever get into any issues with a bunch of shirts and shit that said "Terror" while flying and going to other countries and stuff?
I know Beatty from Hatebreed had an issue wearing a Terror shirt at the Canadian border. I believe. I mean, nothing ever really happened, but it never was really cool to roll into an airport across a border with a million things that said terror. Your paperwork says terror. Your stickers that say terror. Your gear says terror. It just wasn't but I don't think it ever stopped us from doing anything.
Good. Speaking of overseas, Terror are the greatest German hardcore band of all time, really. Tell me about Terror's experience touring Europe. I mean, you guys fucking live there half the year pretty much.
I honestly, I hear a lot of people dog on it. I love it.
Having toured with Terror in Europe one time, I loved it then too.
Yeah.
Very different experience.
I think some people get just the right taste right away, and it's like, I love this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to tour with all of our favorite New York bands. MAD, who booked us for like 15 years, just did so much for us. And we, they just, obviously Terror is not a New York hardcore band, but they just like the style we play, it just, people just took to us right away. I mean, our first time was with Biohazard. We got really good tours. We got cool festivals. We always made decent money, and we worked hard enough over there where like we're always on a bus now. We, and like now you have a cell phone. It's not that tough,
Yeah.
We get treated okay. Errol, our tour manager, that's been with us for like 15 years, he gets the job done. If we need something, we do it. I mean, there's days where you wake up in a field and there's no air. All the cliche things still happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
But like, really, is it that?
But the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, and is the bad that bad? You're gonna sweat in the field and play a show. You have all day. You're on a bus. You got free food. You can get drunk if you want. You can jump in a lake. Like,
Do you have a favorite European tour you've ever done?
Oh shit.
I know there's 18 a year, but it's hard to narrow it down.
I mean, this is gonna sound a little too posy. Now that I'm not drinking on tour, I'm so much happier. Like for people that have toured with me and really know me, I would get drunk day after day after day, and you just wake up feeling like shit, sweaty, doing stupid things while you're drunk, apologizing to people, it's just a terror. Like, and I'm not putting anyone down. Like, I'm not trying to tell anyone what to do, because I did that for 20 years and I loved it and had some of the craziest, best days of my life. But now that I'm not, I'm just in such a like people in Terror saw that for 20 years. And now I'm like the dude that gets up and fucking does yoga every morning and cleans like now I'm like this weird neat freak that cleans everybody and like does my laundry and gets my hair cut. Like now I have other weird things that are just like very neat and clean. And it's just like, so now I'm enjoying things right now the most.
Beautiful. I love to hear that. And Terror's dynamic right now, just these five guys, I really think you just found the perfect mix. Yeah. You got Jordan. You got crazy Jordan, dude.
It's pretty awesome.
It's beautiful.
Like no one argues. Like people annoy each other, and I know dude, sometimes I'm the person that gets a word and says it over and over and over and over to the point.
What's your new word?
Stage dives.
No, it was finally for a while. It was moist. It was choice.
Yeah.
Choink.
I don't know what it's been lately. But that David Wood and me, we had a whole language. We could speak a whole language that didn't make sense to anyone except each other and everyone else. But it all catches on. Everyone starts using it. Even when they don't, like I'll hear like Jordan say something and be like, "Are you fucking serious? I just said it." Like it just catches on. So like I'm annoying. Everyone has their things that annoys each other in Terror still. But at this point, it's just like, fuck it.
Do you have a favorite place or city to play in Europe? Like where is the European stronghold for?
Are we talking
Terror?
show or chilling?
Let's
say
a show. Yeah. To actually play.
Like maybe your top 4 European hardcore scenes.
I don't know. I mean, let me say this. Terror is so fucking lucky and so blessed. And we worked hard, but we can go anywhere in the world and people sing some of our songs and give us love, whether it's a show we still play shows to 100 people up to huge shows. We can do that anywhere we go. People appreciate us and sing along and give us love. I'll just say that instead of like picking out certain cities because
I like that.
I don't really know. Like it's still a point we'll go somewhere and have the greatest show ever, and we'll go back and be like, "What happened? Where did everyone go?" That's still happens.
So you are still human after all.
Yeah,
I am.
Okay, good to know. Scott, what do you think about? Tell me about the legendary, infamous whiskey a go-go incident.
Okay. My memory's pretty tough on anything, so some of the things I might say may not be true.
Martine can confirm later.
Martine did fight an LA City bus. I saw it. He did. He fought a bus. I got my head. So shows were happening at the Whiskey, and I think it was a known thing that security there were kind of overly aggressive. We were on tour. It was The Promise, Terror, Shattered Realm, Born from Pain. The fuck am I missing?
Internal Affairs? Would Internal Affairs play that show?
I was going to say the Hoods. Might have been the Hoods. I don't know. So early in the day, something got stolen out of Busky's bag. So that was already a bad thing. And he's already, he's not one to let things go too easily.
Sure.
So there's a bad vibe already. We know security's not cool. I think they asked us to go get our hands stamped or whatever. And Busky came back and something was missing. So it was kind of like we felt a setup.
So sus already.
Right. Yeah. During the Terror set, it's going off. I don't think it was like super violent, but it was wild in a good way. People start getting dragged out of the show by security. And then Javier from the Warriors, I remember he kind of got hemmed up, and he was someone we all were friends with. And that was like, all right, this is getting out of hand. I shouldn't say this, but
maybe avoid it. Then you talk around it,
I was at the point where I probably could have diffused it and said this shouldn't happen, but I didn't. And things, it just turned whatever, a couple hundred kids against 10 security guards. And they probably deserve to be slapped around a little. And I think all the windows got broke and a lot of stuff got broke. And
it's insurance. That's what it's collateral damage.
Our merch guy at the time, EB, he picked up like a device, like when you walk through the airport or a movie, the little metal thing that holds the belts together. He picked one of those up and threw it at the security guard, and it hit me in the head. And I went to the hospital. I got 5 staples in my head, which was really not fun to tour with. Doug got arrested. Martine fought a city bus. I say this because I believe what happened was he was like fighting in the street and a bus like beeped at him, and he like tried to pull the doors open, but he couldn't. So he started punching the bus. I think that's what happened. Something like that.
That's so awesome.
The helicopter showed up. There's like 20 police cars. It was pretty crazy.
Infamous.
I was off to the emergency room. That wasn't very fun.
Martine has told me that he tried to go back to the Whiskey years later.
Yeah.
And they remember.
Like,
yeah, I think I think they don't want us.
Lifetime ban.
I think so. That's all right.
That's just fine. Ain't nobody going there anyway. Terror is a band that is legendary for, like you said earlier, you do any tour. You'll play with whoever makes sense, which has led to you doing tours with Barricades as a hardcore band, which is not easy, but you have found ways to defeat it. You have defeated the Barricade. What can you tell me about doing all these crazy tours as like the kind of flagship hardcore band on them, or being the kind of favorite hardcore band of death metal, metalcore, anyway, all these bands from different genres want Terror on the tour, and you find a way to deliver every time. Tell me about figuring that out.
The first thing I want to say is I've accepted the Barricade, but I still think it does more harm than good. I rarely see a venue that sets up a barricade and then enforces that no one can go past the barricade and has security in place for when people come over the barricade. It happens, but it's usually more of a problem. And I get it for insurance reasons, but then maybe push it right up against the stage. And if you're going to have a barricade, then don't let anyone on the stage. Make sure there's people there for when they do the crowd surf towards the stage. Mm-hmm. It's just, I've seen.
And don't fucking assault the kid when he finally makes it to you after surfing.
Yeah,
you know?
it still does more bad than good. Or really move it back so there's no way to get to the stage. And there has been times when I've still tried to get people on stage to stage dive when there is a barricade, which is probably not great legally. And now I've found ways to say things that are subconscious, but not really telling people. I'll go so as far as to like, you can't stage dive tonight. It doesn't mean that they won't, but at least I don't want to see anyone get hurt. That's the last thing you want.
Yeah.
But I also have this issue in my head, like you book a terror show and you want a band called Terror and God's Hate and fucking Hatebreed, and you want the money of the people coming to see these bands, but you don't want these bands to have their show. It's like, that really bothers me. Mm-hmm. I think you just got to get a little creative and look at it from the standpoint of the people there. And of course, be the cheerleader that I am, the rally cry giver. And just, we play a lot of festivals in Europe where still a lot of people have no idea who we are. We are not the type of music they're into. Right. And I mean, another thing I would say to a lot of bands that are playing any show or with a barricade, you don't expect the first couple songs. You got to like feed it to them and let things ramp up. And I don't want to say don't give up, and also keep in mind that like from a lot of people's perspective, a good show isn't that someone dove over a barricade. There are some, I'm not going to shows today and going up front and letting someone jump on my head. I'll be back at the emergency room like the whiskey. So, you'll
need a third backiotomy, right?
Let's do it again. But I mean, I think just look at the situation, figure it out, and I think just the energy. Give them the energy. Don't give up, and hope the crowd reciprocates the energy you're giving them. I mean, you can see when a band goes up on a bigger stage and is like, I don't want to fucking be here. Why are we playing this stupid show? Which, if that's their demeanor, that's okay. But the crowd's going to feel that, and then your show is going to be just that. So I think attack.
I love that. I mean, I just saw you at the Palladium to 3,000 people where there was a barricade, and it didn't for a second not feel like a hardcore show,
Thank you for having us, Drain.
Yeah, honestly, on that whole tour, it was really cool to see because that was the situation a lot of the times, and you and Drain did not let it stop you from being a hardcore band, and that there's a lot of lessons to be learned there. Doing these tours, interacting with these bands and all these people, I'm sure you've met a lot of people in your time. Are there any people of note you've met that are like secret corpsmen that have surprised you? Whether it be people in bands or like people in movies and stuff?
Okay. Well, Corpse Grinder has a deep knowledge of hardcore.
And specifically like Youth Crew, like New York.
He loves Youth Crew. He loves, I don't know if Warzone's Youth Crew, but GB. I think he likes New York, Chromags, AF, stuff like that. Who's really surprised me that knows? Oh, Vinny Paz, the rapper. He really knows hardcore. Like he knows Turning Point. Like he really knows hardcore.
And were you a big Jedi Mind Tricks guy before ever learning that?
Andy Williams from Every Time I Die, he was the first person I heard really into Jedi Mind Tricks, which is weird because I don't really take him as a hip hop guy. But I remember him listening to them and really being into them. And I liked them, but I got more into them after I became friends with him. But that motherfucker knows hardcore. Like,
wow.
Aaron, awesome. Now, New York, emo, he knows all of it.
Wow.
Who else? Who else knows the core? I heard that rapper Sage Francis from Rhode Island knows the core.
He was on Epitaph for a minute.
Okay, I've heard him on podcasts say he knows a lot about hardcore and stuff too.
Interesting. He sings on a Bad Religion song.
Nice.
Colin, you think is there a band you've seen more than Terror?
No.
I don't think so either.
Do you want to hear something you're not going to believe?
What's that?
And I think I may have said we have earlier. Terror has never toured with Agnostic Front ever.
Really?
Isn't that
we gotta change that?
Isn't that bizarre?
That is bizarre.
What's up with that?
Not even in Europe?
I hope this isn't the reason why, but way back 15, 20 years ago, we had a tour with them and we canceled. So maybe they whiskeyed us. But like since then I've sang on Agnostic Front's record. Do you want to hear a great story about Roger?
Yeah,
of course.
So when we covered Madball on an EP, we did a really old Madball song where you can hear Roger's voice in the backups. So I hit up Roger and he did like a voice note of the song and sent it to Nick, and Nick mixed Roger into our version of it. And you can hear him if you really listen.
Whoa. That's fucking awesome.
An authentic cover.
Yeah. They just took the stage 2 minutes ago, about a block away.
Did
they?
Shit.
Yeah, AF is playing tonight. That's all right. Damn. I'll get there while they're playing. It's fine.
Absolutely.
We're making history.
Wow. Yeah, we got to change that, huh? Because Vinny has talked about how their love for Hatebreed runs deep because Hatebreed like put on for them.
Yeah.
While during their grand ascension. So we got to get Terror and AF on the road together finally.
I hope so.
We just had Sam from TUI on, and he told us about how touring with Terror early flipped their mindset as a band of just like, oh, you don't have to, you can care, you can do this for real. You can put care and attention into every aspect of touring and being in a band. Terror is a band, and you are a person who has nurtured the youth. You've tried to lead bands to as a better. You become the example to which to lead bands into being better, acting better, having longevity in this world. Is that an active thing that you think about, or is that just who you are?
No, I think as you've seen, when Terror goes out with a band, we're not the type of people that just disappear to the hotel room or stay out of our backstage. We befriend everybody, and a lot of the bands we go on tour with are inspiring us at the same time.
Wow.
Whether, those early days when we toured lots of times with Trapped Under Ice, we needed that. Like, they came on the scene and were a kick-ass live band making cool people and young energy. We always need that. So as much as we're teaching bands how to, I guess you can still have fun, but take some things serious. And if you want to do this for a long time, you can't burn every bridge. You can't, you got to be welcomed back by promoters and other bands within your band. Take care of each other. And Terror's not always been the greatest example of all those things I just said. But at the same time, we need young bands to remind us that it is about being fun, that it isn't all about being fucking to business or whatever. And I love to just talk about hardcore with old people older than me or people 20 years younger than me. If they can talk about Turning Point, or if we're going to talk about like all the bands on Reaper, like Naysayer, like, or old shit, like Straight Ahead, like I'll talk about that with older people, younger people. That's a great way to kill time and make bonds.
Do you remember the first thing you ever said to me, Scott? The first words you ever said to me. I was 14 years old.
Where is this?
This is I think this is like at Studio S or something, maybe.
Oh my God, Studio S.
I think I'm wearing something like a Merauder shirt or something. And you just say to me 2 words. No context, nothing else. Dying breed.
That's not true.
That's a fact.
That is not true.
Dying breed. And I was like, what? And you were like, check them out. Those are the first words you ever said to me.
Hey, that's some the advice Terror gave people. If I could give that advice to people.
Hey, I mean, look at me. It worked. I put it to use immediately. So thank you for that.
Dying breed.
First 2 words ever. I'll never forget them. I never forgot them. And look at me. I'm the dying breed guy now.
Oh, okay.
I think you did that for a lot of people. So, we of the community, thank you for continuing to do that to this day. Something I wonder, Scott, having been involved with hardcore for 30 plus years, there's been some pivotal bands that rise. They change things, as we mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. Who in the modern era are the bands where you vividly remember coming up and just thinking like, yeah, this is it?
Okay. Is Trapped Under Ice the modern era?
Yes.
Yeah.
They definitely, I mean, I'm going to go back. So, and I think Youth of Today would be one of them for shifting the whole thing to a cleaner, happier thing. We talked about Integrity.
Yeah.
We talked about
Earth Crisis.
And then late 90s, who's changing things?
This is a band that I don't particularly love, but they deserve this to be said. I think Unbroken did.
Wow.
Really shifted things. Right before Terror, I could give Comeback Kid. They kind of did a big splash.
They crossed over. There were random kids in my high school who knew them songs.
I mean, the demo was
No Warning had a splash.
How about AN?
Oh, AN had a splash.
Yeah.
Hatebreed. I think I missed Hatebreed. That might be the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're beyond the splash. They're the whole horizon.
It's a tidal wave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trapped Under Ice, Splash.
Yeah.
I mean, Turnstile, Splash.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who am I forgetting? Help me out.
That's the.
I would say in the most recent parlance, like probably Drain and
Splash.
And it's hard to argue with Speed.
Yeah.
Like what Speed is doing right now for a band from a place that, has probably statistically one of the smallest scenes in the world as far as like just people just getting there or whatever. It's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think Tsunami might be in that speed,
big time,
speed drain splash.
Yeah.
There's a renaissance happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're in it. That's beautiful.
It is.
Life's good.
Scott.
Yes.
Do you always get a hot dog at the movies?
No.
Interesting.
I like hot dogs though. But what made you ask me that?
I don't know. Do you have a certain reverence for the band Stained?
That's from Martine. I will say they have like 2 songs that I think are fucking pretty cool.
Weren't they like kind of like heavy prior to the ballad shit? Weren't they like?
They were like certified new metal,
like a new metal.
I do like the ballad though, the one that the dude from
Limp Bizkit sang. Yeah, the outside on the outside.
I'm on me.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Scott, does the store We Never Close ever close?
How do you know what that is?
I don't know, man.
He does this, dude.
Does it close?
Did Frank give you that?
I don't know.
Frank's got a thing for We Never Close.
Does it ever close?
I don't think so. I mean, there was that storm last year where 5 days you couldn't leave your house. I bet they were closed.
How is it being a Buffalo resident again?
Wonderful. Love it.
Yeah. You enjoy
Zero. When we went to Australia, I stayed in LA to sleep because it's like a 33-hour flight. And I did get a burrito in LA near LAX.
Pretty good.
Oh my God.
Pretty good, man.
Yeah.
You know, but hey, tell me about hardcore in Buffalo right now. Is it thriving?
It's good. It's good. There's so many shows like Murphy's Law is playing here tomorrow. Slapshot and Ignite are playing. That's like older. Shelter just played here, but there's so many young bands.
Tell me about the young bands from Buffalo right now.
Like Spaced is a band on Revelation.
Yeah,
and
Spaced is good.
They're the band that's like really working. They're great. Violent Ways, like an Oi band. They work hard too. There's Exhibition. There's Fatal Vision. There's so many bands. Fatal Visions. My brother's band, Pure Heal, they're fucking great. Buried Alive and them went to Europe. I feel
so. Your brother's still rocking.
Oh, he's rocked.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
wow.
He's got he's married,
Pure Heal?
Has a family, tattoos for a living, still plays music. He did pretty good for himself.
What were you saying, Bo?
It's Pure Heal?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
And is that heel as in healing or like heel like your shoe?
Heel, like it's a wrestling term, like a
pure heel.
The enemy,
he's a bad guy.
That's what I was hoping.
Yes.
That's what I was hoping for. I just wanted to
That's
make
awesome.
sure.
So Buffalo is strong.
Buffalo is, it's hard for me to be the judge of this because I was gone for so long, but people here are saying that Buffalo is in a really good spot and better than it's been. It's hard for me because I support Buffalo no matter what. I care about Buffalo, but I was here before I moved to LA and the scene was really big. And then I lived in LA for fucking 18 years, which it's hard to compare. You can't compare almost any scene to LA.
It's endless. Yeah.
So I mean, there's 30 scenes in LA.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and there's, Buffalo's this big and LA's, this big. So it can't compare. But I mean, there's shows all the time. There's cool bands. There's younger kids that really care. There's cool venues there's, and there's a whole like scene of like more punk DIY patchy stuff. There's all sorts of cool stuff. And we have the God Zero Tolerance always looking over us.
Amen. Fuel the fire. Scott.
Yes.
This is a pretty important question. Have you ever shit your pants on stage?
Oh.
No.
I mean, I know that you have, but it's okay. we don't have...
Put my pants on stage?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we really got to be technical, I've like
Sure. Enough said.
It's not full. I'm not saying you filled them up, but cotton was touched. You hit the cotton.
Yeah, when you've been drinking for 20 days straight and you're sweating and you
Trust one.
Now, did you also hand wash those boxers in the bathroom and keep them because they were, quote, good boxers?
I think we have some things. I think we have some things that have happened that I was drunk and don't remember, and I don't like this.
That's
why the new Scott wouldn't do it.
Yeah. That's a different guy.
I don't have to worry about shitting my pants anymore.
Wow.
Good. Well, I'm happy for you there.
Where did the hot dogs at the movie come from?
That was Andy Williams.
Oh, nice.
Which, tell me about touring with a young Andy Williams who buried alive.
Dude, he was amazing. He was amazing. Now I'm thinking maybe when me and him, because we used to hang out a lot, maybe back then. This thing can't remember back then. But
you're doing pretty well.
Yeah, you're doing very well.
So Andy, there wasn't a such thing as a tour manager or a merch guy or anything. Maybe I think at that time you'd bring like 2 t-shirts and someone would be there most of the time. But his main job was moshing. And he did it very, very, very well. So he would come with us. This was Buried Alive when we would go play with All Out War, Reach the Sky, Death Threat. Andy would be with us a lot of the times. And it's great to have someone with you that is going to set the tone in the pit.
A mosh Scott, if you will,
Yes.
Very good.
He's important to have.
Quite a mosher, Mr. Williams.
Oh, yeah. I mean, was his first tattoo a Merauder tattoo? Is that what we discovered?
Ooh. Is it here on him?
Yeah, something like that. Isn't it just the demo skull or something?
I think he's got that face, yeah.
I could just see
cool, man.
him killing kids in like denim overalls with nothing else.
Yeah.
It's just in my mind, he's always doing some Andy Williams gimmick.
And we haven't even talked about Merauder today.
Okay.
Scott, now you would know just from his email, which we won't repeat.
I was going to say, a band's so good, you might make an email about.
Yeah, and we won't repeat his email address, but you'd tell just from that the man loves Merauder. Did you get Master Killer the day it came out?
I got it before it came out.
Good answer.
DJ Rose from Syracuse, from Path of Resistance and Halo Tattoo. He had, it's the Jewel slip cover, like the promo. And it was just a black cover, and it had this Merauder M that's on the one shirt.
Yeah.
And he's just said, hey, I just got this promo CD. You're going to love this, and gave it to me. And he was fucking right. I mean,
loved it.
What a fucking record.
The first time I ever heard of Merauder was because you were wearing the demo shirt.
Oh, I used to have so many.
Yeah.
I don't got it.
That's the first time I read the word Merauder spelled that way, was because you were wearing it. And
I'm gonna put this out there, Scott. I'm sorry to break this news to you. I think I own your demo shirt, Merauder shirt.
Yeah, I think did I give you or my brother or your brother my kickback long sleeve?
Oh, that's with me now, baby.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I had that stuff, but I'm also okay giving that stuff away.
But aren't you happier with it? I show it to somebody. I go, this was Scott's.
Yes, I do like that, but I also don't like that I see that people pay like $800 for that shit. Because
that's sickening.
Like, I don't need the money, but I could use $800 for a stupid shirt.
So
we could all use it.
Back in the day, if like you had a friend who had a Youth of Today shirt or something, like something, or an early AF shirt even, or something that might be hard to come by, like, was there a market for that? Is that something that people were selling?
I don't know. I just gave all. I'm just give shit away. Yeah, I would just rather give it away.
Thank you.
I've held on. I have a couple Zero Tolerance shirts. I have. I actually had the when Rabies died, they had the benefit shows in New York, and it has like a crucified skin and all the bands on the back and the date. I actually just gave that to Nick from Violent Way. That was one of the things I said I'd never give away. But still, even that shirt's probably $500. I'd rather someone get it and wear it and be happy than it sit in my storage space, which like so many things have.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what it's all about.
Of course.
Did you were you part of the Reaper hardcore trading cards ever?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I believe that Kitzel just made cards of all the bands on Reaper and would just put them in. I don't think he ever sold them. I think it was like a promo.
Wasn't there a Merauder one that Jorge was bummed about? And then you said, okay, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. Here's my email. And you gave him that email.
I think he was bummed at Kitzel about making those cards. And I think he was bummed at Terror because on one with the Underdogs on the actual vinyl on the back, it's a picture of Saab wearing a Terror shirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to me, those things are just, I mean,
it's tribute.
I have loved Merauder from the minute I've heard them, and there will always be one of my favorite bands. And I never really got his side of it. I don't think I was never really good friends with him, but he was bummed at Kitzel for that and at Terror for putting that. And I mean, to me, that's just like homage.
That's love.
We love,
that's tribute.
Band.
That would be like,
I hope one day that I see him and get his, if there's something more to it that I don't know, then I would love to know, but I've never had anything but full love for Merauder. And he's one of the sickest frontmans ever. Holy shit.
Just scientifically speaking, that's undeniable.
Voice, stage presence,
moshability.
Yes. Yeah.
Pit.
Shadow boxing.
Yeah. Legend. What were you saying, Bo?
Oh, I was gonna say it would be like, is it Gangstar who you're on the label with?
Yeah, we have a label with me, with Guru and Premier, that's really cool too.
It would be like them. I don't know. I realized it was a dumb example, but like, yeah, it's a tribute. It's the most respectful, obviously.
I mean, when I saw a picture of Saab wearing a Merauder Terror shirt, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So when he passed away, it was kind of like putting it on the record.
Of course.
Immortalizing a photo that meant a lot to you for an artist that meant a lot to you.
Amen.
Can you tell me about being asked to sing for Hatebreed for a tour?
It wasn't for a tour. It was right when COVID stopped and shows started happening. They were doing a tour with like Megadeth, I think Lamb of God and Killsword, like some real big thing like that. And it was going to go into Canada, and Jamie wasn't going to be able to make the Canada show. So it would have been, I think it was 2 or 3 shows. And we were at the point where they're sending me the set list, and I'm trying to, you think you know all the words, so you actually really have to do it for like 10 songs. So this was when our first tour back, when we did a tour, it was Terror, Drain, Dare, and someone else. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting who it was. And so we're driving every day. I'm listening to Hatebreed. It's getting closer and closer. They're telling me what I was gonna do was I had to take a COVID test, like a Live Nation, like a video COVID test where they watched me do it. And I was going to fly to Detroit and rehearse and then cross with them into Canada. And it was pretty stressful. Like, those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then at the last minute, the whole tour canceled the Canadian shows. So it never happened. Would have been pretty fucking cool, but probably
would have been cool.
Probably
so you were going to do it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know that your answer would be, oh, fuck yeah.
What's your favorite?
I don't know.
You got a favorite Hatebreed song? Like, was there a song on the set list that you were like, I can't wait for this motherfucker?
Well, Josta initially sent me a set list, and then I think Beatty vetoed it and wrote me directly and said, hey, I know there's some songs on here you don't really want to do. Why don't you make your, I don't know if he sent me a more Scott friendly set list or I picked a set list, but it changed at one point. Here's another thing about Martine and Chris, but more Martine. When Terror plays live, those motherfuckers do half the work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Shamey their songs are longer than ours, and he's so wordy. And I don't have a Martine and Chris to rely on. I don't know if I was going to be able to deliver.
Wow.
And, it's Terror songs are like second nature. These would be, and my nerves, it could have went bad quick. But, like, if I would have been the front man and we would have done like Under the Knife, just that beginning riff, I may have moshed the band down on stage. Dude, that would have been insane.
Frank would have finally got his comeuppance that day.
No.
I'm just kidding. Well, Scott, let's get into some of the kind of classic HardLore stuff we do.
Imagine time out. Imagine bumping into Beatty on stage. You'd have killed me.
Yeah, we can go flying.
Okay, classic HardLore. I don't know
some
what
classic
means.
HardLore stuff. You gave us your top 4 hardcore records. I wonder if that's changed since.
Okay, I know. I said Beyond was the one that the sleeper.
You said Beyond.
I think I said Born to Expire.
And then you said Don't Forget the Struggle, I believe.
That's number 1. Could be so many things. Could be Killing Time. Could be. We're talking albums, right?
Well, I think any record, because like you can't belittle the hardcore EP. The hardcore EP is kind of the perfect format.
Are we talking just New York City right now?
No. All.
Okay, let's go top. Can I say top 5? Let's do something crazy. Top 5 hardcore records that were not in the state of New York.
I love it.
This isn't going to be in order, and I'm just going to rattle some off. Turning Point, Always Darkest.
Love it.
Chain of Strength is definitely on there. Oh, there's so many. Like I can go Lifetime or E-Town.
Yes, you can.
Hot Water Music is not a hardcore band. They can't be on there.
No, I veto that.
The Brotherhood, either the 7-inch or the 12-inch. I think we're at 5. I'm just going to leave it there. We got Brotherhood, Chain, Confront could be on there, Integrity could be on there, Ringworm could be on there.
Oh man,
anything from Connecticut could be on there.
God, dude, 100 Death Threat is on there.
That's what I'm saying,
dude. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was great. Those are great answers.
I think it's really cool that Modern Terror will throw in a Death Threat cover. Like I love that. I'll
do it every night if I could.
And Modern Terror is Buffalo, the Valley, Whittier, Maine, yes. And Toronto, Canada.
Yeah. That was Todd's idea to do the Dead at Birth.
Really?
That Todd guy's smart.
He is the gift that keeps on giving.
He's got something, man.
God damn. All right, so also went on tour with Terror. I know your dietary habits have all changed drastically. And now you're in a much different place. You're not giving me 40 euros to get you 5 Big Macs anymore. What?
That sounds good.
I know. So if Terror's touring now, what's the food spot that gets everybody excited that you universally agree upon is the place to stop?
They have that. Perfect. Let's go.
Can I tell you, this isn't like I've obviously listened to your podcast before, and I know it's usually like a fast food. Can I give you the reality?
Yeah, please.
Terror has been very lucky that for the last year or two, we've been in a bandwagon. So what Terror does, we drive every morning to Walmart. We park at Walmart and we have a refrigerator. So this means a few things. Everyone can go in Walmart and get groceries and cook for themselves, or every Walmart is surrounded by many fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a pizza problem right now. I eat a lot of pizza.
What's the problem?
Sounds like a pizza solution.
As Dan Seeley, he can't believe that I eat pizza like all the time. Dude, a slice of pizza is unbelievable.
Oh, I've been on a pizza kick lately that I'm like fighting to kick.
Yeah, it's hard.
And it's the thought is just so persistent and brutal.
I like that the Voice of Terror kind of had the perfect touring answer for that question, by the way.
That's true.
Like the answer that makes the most sense for everyone is, go to Walmart. There's lots of stuff.
But I know Martine is exploring the lots of stuff, I can hear him going, dude.
Another thing, too, is everyone in Terror is not scared to walk. So we'll, if there's a Starbucks 20 minutes away, we'll go. The whole world is out there. Walk 20 minutes, go to Starbucks, walk 20 more minutes, and get, dude, what's a really good underrated thing? A Whopper. Onions. Dude, a Whopper.
Classic American sandwich, but the Burger King QC is in the dumpster right now.
Yeah, it can be.
What's that?
The quality control is dead last.
You can be rough for sure.
I like Panera bread too. If I'm trying to be healthy.
Second ever Panera bread answer.
That's
on the
true.
show.
And we don't do it very often, but I like it. Oh, you know what I like a lot lately?
Huh.
Jersey Mike's turkey sub. Dude, that's fucking good.
The Italian from Jersey Mike's with the cherry pepper.
The cherry pepper relish. We're big fans of Jersey Mike's.
Big fans. We're purveyors of Mike.
It's good.
So touring now is a lot different for you than it used to be. What's a day in the life on tour for Terror like for each member? Tell me about what each person is doing.
We're in the U.S.?
Yeah.
We're in the U.S.
Right.
Nick is driving, right?
Me and Nick wake up first. I do yoga, but it's more like glorified stretching for my body because I need it. It's not yoga like real yoga people do.
Sure.
Well, you'll like this. I wake up and weigh myself. If I'm good, I'll go eat a donut almost every day.
Wow.
Donut, coffee, yoga, walk, clean the bandwagon, get a haircut, do laundry if it's around.
Yeah.
Play the show, take a shower, watch something on my iPad, go to sleep. That's me.
That's the Scott Vogel day. Tell me about a Nick day.
Nick wakes up and runs
500
20
miles.
Yeah.
Nick wakes up early, watches a lot of running and bike races on his phone, runs and bike. Dude, Nick will run for like 2 hours, like normal. Like, I'm just going to go running for 2 hours.
He's an animal, dude. He's an animal. And then plays drums at the end of the day.
Right.
Like,
right.
that's
And then drives.
Nick likes to eat, but he's vegan. Plays, showers, go to bed. We're very
simpatico.
Yeah.
Martine will be the last one up. Usually, him and Dan sleep the most because they stay out the latest. They still are very social. Martine socializes, likes to go out every night. Whether it's, he still gets drunk sometimes, but loves karaoke, but also likes to just like go out and eat and socialize and be around people. Like for me,
he was built for touring.
Yeah, I'm very antisocial. Now Link is somewhere in the middle.
Sure.
Link will sleep semi-late, but not too late. Link's the person when you cross the border, you have to like tell him 5 times to get up. He like gets in this coma. He also eats kind of crappy. He likes sweets. He sometimes runs always in a good mood. Link is the person, he's always just happy. He's got a lot of energy. He's like a 70% go out at night and comes home later, but not as late as Martine.
Okay.
Jordan's kind of down the middle.
Jordan's lifting weights, right?
Jordan, nah, he does a lot of weird push-ups and like
calisthenics.
He takes care of his body, but not with weights. He is very particular. His day revolves around where he eats and what time.
Nice.
Like where I'm searching for a laundromat, he's searching for a healthy restaurant. But me and him are on different food schedules. Like I try to eat like 4 hours before we play. He tries to eat like right around 6 o'clock or something. But his day revolves around a nice walk and 2 good meals. He still gets drunk sometimes and goes out, but sometimes he stays and doesn't go out. He's like, if Link's 70% go out, Jordan's like 60.
Okay. Jordan, to any of the listeners, Jordan has a personality that is like indescribable, where it's very magnetic but very subdued. But when you get to know him, it's very Costanza-esque.
Well, yes. Yeah. That being said, if you get him on a topic like Seinfeld or like a guitar tone that he's really partial to,
he's unstoppable.
He's unbelievable.
I mean, even if I start talking Bad Religion with him,
really?
It's all day, dude.
I see.
Oh yeah.
He'll never live down that Harm's Way crushed terror, aka him, in Seinfeld trivia. He can't live with it.
That's a big feat, Bo.
We had a ringer, to be fair. We had this guy, Peter Cookies. He's like a crazy encyclopedia, but I can hold my own, Yeah. But I think it was Scott and Jordan, me and Peter, Dan, and who did Dan play with? Oh, James. I think it was Dan and James. And they were doing so bad, Dan and James, that they just sabotaged. They just started fucking up everyone else on purpose. He's like, if we can't win, no one will.
He says Harm's Way had a ringer and I was drunk and that's why he couldn't hold down.
We got to get a live rematch.
Dude, I would love that. Seinfeld trivia.
That game, I bought it, and I've bought it more than once, but one of the time I bought it and we played it a few times, and then I'd be like, all psyched, everyone want to play, and Jordan would be like, not today, and I took it outside and threw it in the dumpster in front of him. He's like, you're such an idiot.
Classic Scott.
Stupid.
Not the new Scott would never.
Stupid temper tantrum.
That's old Scott.
Do you have any fond memories of that summer where we hung out every day, Scott?
Hiking friends.
That was pleasant.
Cryotherapy.
Oh,
that too, dude. I forgot about that.
Does that work?
I don't know.
Yeah. I've tried it and I could never really tell.
I don't know, but I think if anything, it woke you up and made you like energetic. I don't think it hurt, but
yeah, no, it's like the cold plunge thing where it's like more effective than caffeine.
That's the most common Instagram ad I get is for a fucking like on your deck, get a cold plunge.
I'll never do it. I don't have a deck.
I don't think I could do it. I'm like, if we're like somewhere in a pool is semi cold, I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to be uncomfortable.
I'm with you. I want to be warm. Scott, have you ever seen a ghost?
Oh.
No.
Are you open to it?
I'd rather not. Rather not.
Would you believe it if you did?
If I did, I would. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. It's something, I know this is something you guys talk about. It's something that I have no interest in.
Wow.
Well, what if they have interest in you and you don't know it?
But that's why they don't
tell
leave
them
them alone.
To stay away.
Yeah.
You just told him yourself, buddy. Get him. All right. Well, that's fine. That's cool. No, I like that. Scott, not into ghosts. Vogel.
I have no interest.
No, that's cool. That's fine, I guess. It's October, but now that this is when this is airing, but it's fine.
Also, Halloween.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh,
Don't
you're not
be
a creepy crawler, huh? You weren't really into the Danzig reference earlier. Do you fuck with the Misfits at all?
We went, Terror recently played with the Misfits at that something in Ohio, one of those festivals. I don't know.
Yeah.
Rock Hio.
Oh no, it was Sonic Temple.
Yeah, I lasted about 2 songs, went to bed.
That's like 2 minutes. Wow. Couldn't agree there. But we're winding down here big time. Scott, this has been so pleasant. And I told you we'd pretty much hit that 3-hour mark. I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
You see that?
Wow. It went quick.
Scott,
quick.
We want to thank you, both of us, for being who you are and who you have been, because the impact, I don't know if you realize how often terror comes up on this show. It's probably once an episode. And just kind of, whether it's example of how to tour or how to do music or how to maintain your principles as a band and as like people, terror fits all of those things really well. And that's really what this whole show is about. So I want to say, on behalf of both of us and myself particularly, thank you for the last 23 years and before that with everything else, but specifically for everything that Terror has done and sharing with us on the show and all this stuff. It was really, I found myself like sitting and just like listening to stories during this whole episode, and it was awesome. I just really appreciate it.
Thank you for saying that. And I got to give a lot of credit to all the members of Terror from day one till now. But like we've said a few times, Terror is like the people we have right now. It's really a cool thing. And I think everyone within the band has helped each other grow and be better people. Yeah. And I think we're having fun. And I think, behind the scenes, like Vitalo has done some really great stuff for Terror and with his other bands that Terror gets to reap the benefits of.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard being a band after 23 years. It's hard for me sometimes to leave the house and go on tour again. But like, we're in such a good place now and our shows are good. And like the way you're thanking me, anyone that hears this, that comes to Terror shows and goes off for us and sings along, and you guys saying nice things about us, none of it is taken for granted. Like, we've had such a hard ride, but more than that, it's been awesome, and we've got to do so much. We're so lucky, and to be able to do it this long has been pretty incredible. And you're thanking us, but thanks right back to you for having me and saying nice things about Terror, and everybody that's listening to this that supports Terror. It really, really means the world.
Well, I mean, right back at you. I second everything Bo said. Terror's a once-in-a-lifetime band. Going on LP 10 without changing, evolving the entire time, but never sacrificing your integrity, your morals, your beliefs. Terror is timeless, one of a kind. We appreciate everything you've contributed. Scott, if you've got any last closing remarks for the people, I would love to hear them. So,
the only thing I didn't work into this whole thing is all I listen to lately is Sunny Day Real Estate, and I don't know why, but I'm like literally addicted to them right now. So they're a very odd band. Just as Hot Water Music is, maybe people wouldn't think I would really like as much as I do. Like, the singer of Sunday Real Estate sings so high sometimes. I'm like, how am I listening to this? But for some reason, they're so good to me. So if you're looking for some mellow music that I think is really great, check out Sunday Real Estate.
I like it.
Wow. That's your tour playlist right now is Sunny Day Real Estate. Anything else?
Podcasts and Sunny Day Real Estate. Literally, that's it.
Love it.
Well said. Words of wisdom. Scott, I would love for you to make a playlist for this episode.
Wow.
Okay, what do I do?
Of just whatever you want. Of just things that represent Scott right now.
I would like to.
And I'll put it up. We'll put it up with this episode.
What's my time? What's my window?
Oh, you got time.
You have weeks.
Okay,
yeah, you got
cool.
time.
Just remind me. I'll be just do a playlist on Spotify and
email you send it to me, and I'll remake it, and it'll be out to the world.
I'll be happy to do it. Just remind me, please.
Last question. This is more personal. I just want to know: is there a Terror record you think is most underrated in the catalog? I can tell you mine. It's The Damned the Shame.
My least favorite. You know this.
Ugh. You're wrong.
I love the Ringworm split, specifically the version, the Terror songs, the versions of those songs on that split.
Ooh. I mean,
yeah, the Carl backups.
Unreal.
I always think about when there's these conversations and that people say different records. I just think it's really cool that we don't just have that one record. We have several. Yeah. So it tells me we've done something right for a while. So I'm glad when people like the ones that I don't like so much, because it's spread the wealth. I don't know if that's the right term, but
of course.
Very fair. Well done. Well said. Scott, thank you again for joining us. This has been one of my favorite episodes of all time. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Bo agrees. Mm-hmm. Come back anytime.
Yeah.
When you need to talk hardcore, let me know. I'm happy to.
We need to talk to you about hip hop sometime too, because we need to learn.
Ooh.
Yeah, we need to be educated.
Get me and Jay from Mind Force on to talk hip hop. That could be cool.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
What a day that would be. It would be fun. All right. Well, that concludes this episode. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Thank you, Scott, for joining us. We will see you next week. Bye.